Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. And look, if you're watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that during the stream, we talk about all kinds of different things related to content creators. We talk about getting views, getting subscribers, making money. We talk about comments and getting more of those. We talk about equipment sometimes. We talk about all kinds of things related to being a content creator, even like burnout and things like that. So because of that, we add timestamps down into the video description where you can go down into the video description and you can find the parts of the stream that matter the most to you, and you can jump straight to those parts. Or if you just want to learn a bunch of stuff about YouTube, then in that case you can just hang out, listen to the entire thing in the background, or while you're driving if you want to learn about YouTube while you're driving, or while you're working, which is what a lot of people do. And shout out to the people that are listening to this while you're working. But yeah, so if you are watching this on the replay, then there's a lot of value that you can get out of this. So make sure that you at least skip around or that you check out those timestamps. But if you're here, hey, what's going on? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Hope that you had a fantastic week. As you can see, D is not with me today, so I am a little bit under the weather. I'm actually feeling better today, but yesterday I was under the weather, and because of that, just for the sake of not risking getting D sick, I am, I was like, hey, let's figure out if I should come over there and we stream over there, or if if I should stream from home. And we decided, just to be, on the safe side, because I don't want to get sick, that we end up, or that we do it this way. So because of that, I am here and I'm going to be answering your YouTube questions. So how this works, if this is your first time here, is there is a form that is down in the description right now of this stream. And all you have to do, and this is free to do, all you have to do is take your question and then you add it to that form. And once it's down on that form, I answer the questions as they come in the order that they're received. So all you got to do is just, wait for that, wait for us to get to that particular question. And then we're good to rock and roll. And then we'll get your question answered here on the stream today. So right now we do have some questions in there, but I'm definitely going to get through these today, probably pretty quick. So because of that, if you do have a question, make sure that you do put it in the form that's down in the description below. If you are watching this on Twitter, LinkedIn, or over on Facebook, just a heads up to you, you can go to nicknimmin.com/ask, and it's going to send you to that same exact form, and you can get your question answered that way. So you don't necessarily have to be participating on YouTube, but YouTube is where the party's at. So because of that, make sure that if you do have a question, that you get into the form so I can get it answered on the stream today. Chantel, what's going on? Nice to see you here. Scale Train Station, what is going on? Hope you're doing great. Home Rapid Repair, what is up? Nice to see you here. Jerry Papandrea, hope that you are doing awesome as well. Vibing with Charlie Morris, what's going on? Tan going to the kitchen, and Jerry Papandrea and Shark Scrapper. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. And Shark Scrapper says, glad that you told us that you're a little under the weather. I'll sit at least 3 feet from the screen, or is it 4? Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it might be 6. Yeah, I'm not sure what the number is, if I'm honest, but I think that space is something that's supposed to be kept there. So yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. And because I'm in my home setup today, we might be able to do things a little bit differently too, in terms of maybe pulling up more channels, while we are, discussing things and that kind of stuff. Just because I have this big screen, right next to me here, and it just makes those types of things, a little bit easier. So I'm just kind of getting some stuff ready right now for that, just in case we do end up doing that. Let me refresh this page, make sure everything is locked and loaded and ready to go. Pete Johns, what is going on? Stanley Orchard in the house. Nice to see you here. Catherine Jung, nice to see you too. JJ Lonely Bull in Asia, what is up, dude? Hope that you are doing great, I think is the cereal commercial. So yeah, I hope you're doing awesome. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into the questions, and I'm going to start that right now while this is loading. So the very first question is from Lego Tours NI. Oh, hey, really quick, let's talk about something. So Tube Spanner, we had the stream last week where we talked a lot about Tube Spanner. So if you haven't checked out Tube Spanner yet, check that out at tubespanner.com. But we did a channel review stream over on the Tube Spanner channel. It was pretty cool. So basically on that particular stream, when I do those here, we'll get more people, over the course of the stream and on the replay. But over there, it's smaller and it's a lot more intimate. So because of that, if you do want to, get feedback on your channel for the next time that we do that, make sure that you do subscribe over on the Tube Spanner YouTube channel, turn on all the notifications and all that, so that as we, put out the word that we're streaming, because it's usually like, hey, an hour from now, we're going to be streaming. That's about the lead that we give on it, so that you can go over there and get feedback on your channel if that's something that you would find value in. All right, so make sure all of this stuff is muted, and it is. Okay, here we go. So the very first question is from Lego Tours NI. Lego Tours does daily content, been on YouTube for less than a year, and the goal of the channel is to quit their job and to be a full-time creator. And the question is, how can I get more people to comment during my live streams? This is a great question. So when it comes to live streams, a couple of things that you can do is ask questions, right? Because if you're asking questions, then that gives people the opportunity to reply to those questions. Try to, get for feedback. Hey, let me know if you think the same. Let me know, if there's something that you would like to see in this game, those types of things. But, talk to the chat just like you see me do. Talk to the chat, like we're all hanging out here. So, when you're talking to the chat, you ask questions and things like that. Then if people are interested in, that particular subject matter, then, they might engage from there. But yeah, just having a conversation, right? Instead of saying things like, hey, leave a comment or anything like that, just try to engage with them as well. And by doing that, it just kind of opens you up as a welcoming person for, that type of engagement, because you're trying to initiate the conversation. Next up, you have about 20 viewers. You're doing great. Just so you know, so Lego Tours NI here, they say that I have about 20 viewers. So just so you know, you're doing awesome. So when it comes to live streams, it's challenging. It's challenging to get people in there, and it can be discouraging sometimes. Like when you see live streams and you're like, man, that person's got like 50,000 people in their live streams, and you see that type of thing, it can be discouraging, when you don't have that many. But I do want to let you know, and this is a younger person too, for everybody in the chat, just so you kind of know, this conversation. But basically, when you have 20 people in there, that's great. Like you're doing awesome in terms of, you've got 20 people that are interested in what it is that you're doing. And if you can have 20 people interested in what it is that you're doing, that means that there's potential with what it is that you're doing, right? So because of that, you're off to a really great start when it comes to that. So nice work on having 20 concurrent viewers. Next up, we've got Winning with Wiggy. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Uploads one time per week or more. They do review, tutorial, and gameplay content. Man, I'm going to answer this here in a second. So yeah, so basically I went out. I was like, okay, so D and I aren't going to meet up. Normally I'll leave like about an hour to an hour and a half earlier. And then we'll go out, we'll have dinner, we'll grab coffee, all those things. And, I was waiting for him to wake up to like get my messages, and I ended up leaving later. And because of that, like when I came in, I'm like getting everything ready real quick and like, all that stuff. So I'm like sweating a little, I think. And yeah, so I'm pulling myself together right now as we're getting this thing rolling. All right, so here we go. So Wiggy asks, I started as a review and tutorial channel, but slowly moving towards gameplay, and it's in the same niche. I recently changed the style of my content, though it's still in the same niche. I expected viewership to drop a bit while I rebuild, but I've been surprised to see YouTube pushing the videos pretty hard. Most get 10 to 15,000 impressions. The problem is my CTR has been low. It started out around 0 to 5 to 0 to 9%. And even after updating my thumbnails and titles, it's still only around 1 to 1.5. Does this sound like YouTube might be showing my content to the wrong audience? Or is it more likely that my thumbnails and titles still aren't strong enough and I should keep working on them? So first off, just so you know, that you said that YouTube is pushing the video pretty hard, and that most get 10 to 15,000 impressions. So when it comes to YouTube pushing content, YouTube doesn't really push a content. It doesn't have opinions on content, anything like that in terms of their system. How it works is YouTube tests your content against people, and then based on how those people respond to the content, then YouTube is going to basically rank your video within their system. And from that ranking, it's going to determine, should we show this to more people, right now? If so, should we show it to a lot more people? Should we show it to, fewer people, that kind of thing, based only on how it's competing. And it's not even, should we show this viewer to fewer people? It's more about, are there other videos that are within that same pool of content that might be a good fit for the viewers that you're trying to reach? And they don't even have to be within your same niche. They can be other topics that your viewers care about. It will look at all of the content in that particular, group, and you're competing with all of that. And if there's videos that are performing better in that group, then those videos can end up being getting more impressions because people are responding better to those videos compared to the response that you might be getting. Another thing to keep in mind is that as you get more impressions, am I talking faster than normal? I'm gonna try to zen myself down here a little bit. But basically, as you publish videos, and it doesn't always work out like this, but in a lot of cases it does. Most cases it does. When your videos do start getting more impressions, it can push down your click-through rate. However, with yours, you've got like 10 to 15,000 impressions, which is a lot, but not really. So because of that, the performance that you're getting from your click-through rate, I would say definitely needs work. So what I mean by that is right now, having 10 to 15,000 impressions and already being down to a 0.5 to 0.9%, and also already being down to a 1 to 1.5. Of course, this is going to, kind of regardless of traffic sources with that few impressions, that is pretty low. So what that tells me is just because of that by itself, one thing that I would say, and I'm actually going to pull up your channel here and just look at it at a glance, here, personally, I'm not going to put it on screen, but what that tells me is that there's a really good chance that you probably need to work on your video ideas. You need to work on, your thumbnails, that sort of thing. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. Okay. So you're playing chess. That's cool. Okay, these are all chess videos. Okay, so a couple things that I am going to point out around what it is that you're doing is that you are following best practices in terms of like I'm clearly displaying the game. You know what? Let me see if you said that if you gave me permission here to pull it up. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and pull it up. That's how we're starting this party today. So here we go. Just so everybody can kind of understand what I'm saying, instead of me just saying a bunch of stuff and nobody having any context. It just makes more sense this way. Okay. So when it comes to your thumbnails, right? Like the things that you are doing correctly is, like it's clear that it has something to do with chess. You have this 1800 broke me. I'm going to guess if somebody's familiar with this version of chess, maybe this game that you're playing, it might have, something else. But I'm going to guess that they're going to be pretty familiar with what this means. Some things that do kind of stand in your way here, though, that I would try to work on or at least experiment with is like in these thumbnails here, right? You have yourself in black and white, and then you have like these kind of awkward kind of spaces in here. And these little types of details can kind of give an impression from the outside. And this thing isn't something that I mention like all of the time, but I like to bring this up occasionally because this is really common. So when you publish videos to YouTube and somebody sees this, all of this information right here that somebody's looking at, the thumbnail and the title, people are making judgments on this in terms of like, okay, is this something that I might care about? Who possibly made this? And then, they'll, just do a quick scan here to see what's going on there. And then they'll come down here and they'll be like, okay, kind of what's this about? And should I click on it? So when you're doing things like this and you have some of these, you're breaking some like design best practices. Again, your thumbnails don't have to be perfect, but these little types of things do create like a expectation for the people that that are seeing these thumbnails in terms of, hey, is this going to be something high quality or not, or of quality? And, you know, those little types of design mistakes can kind of, you know, kind of lean it in the other direction. So because of that, I would experiment with things. And it looks like you are experimenting a lot, which is great. But I would experiment with things like, you know, having yourself, and you're doing this already, like having yourself on one side and then having, you know, it clearly about chess over here. When you're writing text in your thumbnails, you can see, I'm sure you can see this on my screen right now, because you have this like blue background here, and then you have this red text, and then you have all of this like pattern happening in the background. This text is really difficult to read, even when it's at a large size on this monitor that I'm looking at right now. So because of that, I would also just make sure that the text stands out. So like if you look at this one, for example, you can see how clear that text is, right? When you look over here, you can see like the chestnut, you can see how much that stands out, you know, against the black. But when you look at this over here, then you can see, you know, that it doesn't. So some of the things, you know, like I said, that you're doing are fine in terms of best practices, like helping people identify, you know, that it's about chess. But other things that you might want to consider, and this is just food for thought. I don't know this specific version of chess that you're playing, or like the computer version that you're playing. But if this thing isn't like a key part of the game up at the top, I would even go as far as to make this bigger, right? So like at a glance, it's like, yep, this is definitely something about, you know, this particular game. If this part right here would do the trick on helping them identify, you know, it's about that game. Other things that can also work against you when it comes to your click-through rate, and people do this a lot too, and they do it with the right intention, because they're thinking about the viewer when they do it, and they're thinking like, hey, if somebody watches this video, then it's going to make sense for them to watch this video, you know, from the outside. Is this right here, where you have like day 5, day 4, day 3, but there's no additional context to what any of that means on any of these videos, right? Here, easy win on day 5. This only matters to viewers if they've watched, you know, any of these other videos from day 1 to day 5. So again, some things that you're doing right here is that you are using the chess imagery, so you're good there. You're experimenting, so you're good there. When it comes to the titles, I would definitely work on your titles, right? Because you have, he couldn't handle this opening. And right now, because you are still trying to pick up that initial momentum on your YouTube channel, another thing is I would try to be a little bit more clear here, instead of, you know, just leaning on being vague, right? So this might be okay. It might be appropriate, you know, for the people that are interested in this game. I'm not sure. But the idea with this is right here, it's kind of vague. And if you're not like really in tune, you know, with this particular thing, this might just be easy to kind of go past in terms of it being a video that you might want to watch, or you might consider watching, but not a video that you feel like you need to watch in some way. So because of that, you might want to also work on your titles, or not might, but I would work on your titles so that you can, you know, try to make your videos feel like a video that they need to watch, or that they really want to watch, instead of it being something that, you know, they could watch or they should consider watching, right? Because when it comes to YouTube, because it is such a big competition and you're competing with everything they care about, you're going to, you know, like this video is going to be right next to a bunch of super compelling stuff from some of the best creators on the platform. So because of that, you have to really, you know, lean into like, okay, what would help this be a need to watch video? And sometimes, you know, you might not be able to nail that, and that's okay. You know, like everybody, you know, kind of swings and misses sometimes. And this video was only published 6 hours ago, so this might end up doing fantastic on your channel. I'm just giving you some best practice advice around what it is that I'm seeing here, okay? Another thing, and I mentioned this also briefly, is I would remove things like this, because, you know, it's just not relevant to people. And it also suggests that there might be something else that you have to do in order to get that. I would also remove the day 5 here, and just make it like, what YouTube recommends is they recommend that when you publish videos to YouTube, that even if you're doing a series, that you make each individual standalone, so that a new person can come into that video and they can enjoy that video and get value out of that video. And it has a clear beginning and ending. without requiring them to watch additional videos, right? So because of that, try to make each one of those as a standalone. But you're doing a lot of experimentation here, so you're heading down the right path because you are doing, you're putting in the work. So just keep working on it. One thing that I would also experiment with is, since YouTube does have the A/B feature with your thumbnails. Yeah, like this for half of your screen, right? When I do this hover right here, like that's pretty cool. But when it comes to your thumbnails, I would also upload different versions if you're not trying this yet. So basically have one version to where you would do it normally, like you're doing here. Have another version where you do it to where the focus is more on this, like let's say this on one side and then you on the other side. And then another one that's just a direct focus on the game by itself without you in it at all, and just see if people respond to one better than the other. And then based on that test, try it on some other videos and then see if you can develop a pattern that way, based on, okay, normally when I do this, people seem to respond to it better, right? That's kind of what you're going for when you're running those tests. But again, the best practice stuff, I think you're doing great. I think you could do a little bit better here. Like this is a really striking thumbnail. Like you can even see here in a world of color on YouTube, like this really stands out, and it's just like big and bold. But even with this, I think that it would be, a little bit more impactful if like these chess pieces were bigger or, something like that. So just some food for thought there. Another thing, and I just noticed this because I was kind of focused in on the thumbnails, is you do have some of these other videos here. Like I'm not, okay, this is a chess game. So if this is, no, okay, so they're all physical chess games. Okay, I got it. I was thinking this was a video game, but it looks like maybe this is reflecting what you're doing on the actual board. Okay, got it. Yeah, other things too, and this is going to come down to the experimentation side, but other things also, like how you're doing it in your profile picture here, where you're putting just a big emphasis on the physical chess pieces, that might pull people in more, that are interested in chess at scale versus it seeming, maybe like they have to be interested in the game that you're playing instead of, chess at scale. That might also be helpful to kind of broaden up who might be interested in the content itself. Hopefully all that made sense. If you have any questions about that, let me know. All right, so next up, hey, Demon Dro. Oh.
Super chat.
Thanks for the super chat. Says, had a friend say that I should shouldn't maybe broaden up and interview, that I should broaden up and interview non-biker people. I'm so niche in my mind. Do you think he's right? So those types of things can be helpful, but when it comes to niching down, it's important to, one, keep in mind what you're trying to do. Two, if you are, trying to be that person, like for example, you see channels where they have entrepreneurs and they target entrepreneurs and they interview entrepreneurs, right? The advantage they have is that once you know that person interviews entrepreneurs, and if you're an entrepreneur and they're doing good interviews, you're like, hey, these two people here, regardless of who it is they have on, they're talking about something that I care about, right? So because of that, it can be advantageous to be that person for your niche. However, it might be worth an experiment if you can find somebody that would be for your niche, but maybe just a little bit more, to where maybe they're into, motorcycles and all that, but maybe, there's a bigger picture that you can kind of paint there with that particular guest. It might be worth experimenting with a few just to see if you can, get a better response, or a bigger response or a broader response, so to speak. Definitely something worth experimenting with, but I wouldn't get too far down that road unless you're intentionally trying to make a pivot. But I think what you're doing right now, people are responding well to it. You're growing at an awesome pace. Like everything is heading in that right direction with what it is that you're doing. So because of that, you could experiment with it, like I said, but I wouldn't go just completely, off center to where you're like, okay, I'm serving, this group of people here, but now I'm just going, I'm just going to pull somebody in that a lot of my audience wouldn't even know. I definitely wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would just kind of take steps out to where it's like, okay, let me kind of walk out a little bit and bring this person in to where they might have some crossover, and then and then see how your viewers respond to that. Great question though, especially with where you're at and what it is that you're doing. Wiggy says, ain't no party like a chess party. Woo woo. So Fontaine Architecture, thanks for the super chat as well. Says, I just started my second channel, 1 week old. I think SEO is important for new channels. I started using keywords everywhere. Any SEO tools or tips? I have some shorts with little traction and 2 vids under 2 minutes with low views. So SEO can be good for certain content types, but it's not the best for all content types. So because of that, if the type of content that you're making is stuff that people are searching for at a high rate, then in that case, targeting search can be advantageous. And when it comes to targeting search, one thing that is important to think about is when it comes to search, it's a little bit easier. Because then, even if your videos don't perform well in the recommendation system, as long as they perform well in YouTube search, they can become stable sources of traffic, and you get to open up to additional traffic sources like ChatGPT and in Google. So because of that, it does create those additional opportunities. However, search can also be relatively slow in a lot of cases as well. Sometimes for a video to show up and maintain placements, it can take some time. So it can be a really slow thing, but once it goes, it can go, right? When it comes to search, it's important also to remember that if I were to look up the type of content that you're making, I'm going to get a different result than if you looked up that same thing. So sometimes there are videos that will stay in that same spot for most people that are looking for that term. But YouTube also caters, just like they do the recommendation system, they'll cater those search results based on the viewer that's interacting with it. So for example, if you interact with your content, which you do, you upload it, you're on your channel sometimes, you might preview your videos, things like that. Maybe you go to your YouTube video on the watch page to answer comments, that kind of stuff. Then what's going to happen is if you look for something in YouTube search because you want to see how your videos are doing, then YouTube's going to detect that it's your channel and that you're interacting with your channel a lot. So therefore, it's going to be likely that you're going to see results there that some other people might not even see at all. This is where you'll get and this is kind of a funny thing that happens. So when it comes to YouTube, you'll see people sometimes talking about search, and they'll be like, oh yeah, my video's in #1, whatever. But then you go and look because they're looking at it from their account. But then when you go look in like incognito mode or just in another account that's not theirs, you can't find them anywhere, right? So because of that, you just want to make sure that when you are targeting search, which again can be valuable, you just want to make sure that that. But also, one thing that I would recommend is while you're targeting search is to also try to make recommendation plays. And here's why. So I already explained the advantages of search in terms of consistent traffic, opening up traffic sources, right? In terms of Google and ChatGPT, in addition to YouTube search, and search-based videos can also get traction in recommendations as well, as long as people respond to them there. But I would also, as part of your content strategy, I would also make very intentional plays or attempts for performance in the recommendation system. And the way that you do that is you package things up differently. I have a video on my channel. The title says something like, this is your year, or the text going across the thumbnail. It's me. I'm literally sitting in this exact spot wearing, probably a black shirt because I wear them all the time. And there's just text going across the screen that says, this is your year, with a little play button on it, YouTube play button. Go watch that video because I talk in detail about how to do that. But when it comes to YouTube search, it's competitive, or the same rules apply that apply to the rest of the system in terms of YouTube is going to prioritize the videos there that do get the best response for the queries that are being put in. So what that means is if your video gets a better response when people are searching for that term compared to the other videos that are in those top spots, then that can help your video show up there more compared to if somebody else gets a better response, talking about the same topics. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are going for terms that you know that you can compete in. And by knowing that, because you mentioned some tips too, right? You want to make sure that you're going for terms that you can compete in. And the way that you do that is you search for those terms using keywords everywhere, if that's what you're using. You can also use higher end tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs as an example, just to kind of get search data. I think, I'm not sure if Ahrefs does it or not, but I know SEMrush also has YouTube data specifically. But that one's like $100 a month. But if you're search targeting, a lot of your content, then it might be worth it for you. And if you're using it for business or something like that, because I see you have architecture in the name here, so you might be using this for lead generation. But the idea is when it comes to search to make sure that you are, going after search if that's your strategy, but that you're also making the play for recommendations. Because when it comes to search, one of the really big negatives about search is that you have to wait for people to look for your content, right? So YouTube's going to be trying it against people, and you can get people in that way too. But when it comes to recommendations, you don't have to wait for people to look for what it is that you made. YouTube's just going to put it in front of people that are interested in that topic. So because of that, while you're learning about search, you should also, learn about the recommendation system. Again, watch that video that I made to kind of help you, with that in terms of how you frame things and all that, so that you can give yourself the opportunity for faster growth as well. Because like faster growth usually comes from recommendation system. Slower, consistent growth often comes from YouTube search. And also make sure that you're adding the, keyword or keyword phrase to the title and description. Make sure that you're actually talking about the subject. Make sure you mention it. Make sure that you are showing references to those things in your videos, that type of thing, because all of those things help YouTube know that your video is about that particular thing. And it just kind of helps them find basically any information that you can give to YouTube, visually, audibly, in text, whatever, to help their system better understand what your content is about, so they know who to show it to, is something that you want to do, especially, when it comes to, search, and really with recommendations too. Rob the Maritimer. What's up, dude? Nice to see you in here. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Nice to see you in the stream today. Yeah, so he talks about YouTube as well. So if you guys are, just kind of exploring around, like YouTube help channels and stuff, go check out his channel. He makes some really good stuff. So next up on our list here, we have the Blind Bard. Blind Bard does entertainment content. The goal of the channel is to connect with others who likes what he likes. And the question is, I want to start an email list. What are the advantages of using a site to do this rather than a Google form that I can access? Not sure about accessibility of other sites. If you're a content creator and you're wanting to start an email list, then in that particular case, the list itself is going to be more advantageous to a Google form. The reason for that is because when it comes to a Google form, you're going to have to collect those emails anyway from that form and then find somewhere to send the email from. When it comes to the email systems like Aweber, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, etc., with those particular services, what they do is they collect all the emails for you. And then when it comes time to make the email, what you do is send out the email. What you do is you log into their system, and then you say, I'm sending the email to this list. And then you go and you create the email for that particular list, and then you fill it all out, and then you test it. So you send it to yourself first to make sure everything works, all the links work, things like that. And then after that, you will, do the blast, which is where you send that email out, and then everybody's going to get that email sent to them instead of you having to send, one by one or CC a bunch of people or something like that. Their system is designed and built for the sake of sending out mass emails. So because of that, there's just a lot of advantages there. In addition to that, if you did do it manually, you also don't have the ability to do other things. So when it comes to sending out mass emails, if you choose to get aggressive when it comes to email marketing, one of the things that you can do is hey, thanks, Jerry. One of the things that you can do is you can also make it to where you add tags to each individual email. So you can say, okay, if somebody opens it, then you can move them to this list. If they don't, then move them to this. If they click on a link, then you can move them over into this list. If they don't, then you can do this. And you can start to fine tune it to where over time you start building a list of people that, respond a lot. And then you also get to build different lists of people based on what it is that they're doing. So for example, what I could do, because I have people that watch my content that upload regular, videos to YouTube, and I have people that watch my content that upload videos to Shorts. So what I could do is I could send out an email that's only talking about long form content, or that talks about long form content and Shorts. And then let's say that I put a video or another resource within there. One of them is targeting people that use YouTube Shorts, and the other one is targeting people that are using long form content. Well, if they click on one versus the other, then it can start to split that list up. Same exact thing if I were to send out an email, and then within that email, I say something about live streaming, or I give away some stuff, some graphics or something with live streaming. Well, in that case, most of the people that are going to go and get those free things that I'm giving away that are live streamers. They're going to click on that link to go get those things. And then that email service is going to track that. And then that gives me the ability, if I wanted to move those people into a list of live streamers. So then it just allows you to segment your list in all these ways. And it's just efficient at sending out the emails that also, prevents you from going into spam or limits you going into spam and things like that. Yeah, Jerry's like, hey, nice reset there. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'm just kind of recording these like as I go for some of the questions for TikTok and YouTube and all of that stuff. So it's not always this. Home wrap repair.
Super chat.
Thanks for the super chat, man. Says, hey, Nick, I did the math on my YouTube shopping program. They're paying me like 15% on products, and Amazon is only paying me less than 3%. YouTube is great. Yeah, man, when it comes to, what YouTube does for creators, I think that, one of the things that people underestimate is once you get into the partner program and you start getting access to some of these things, like you can earn real money from just YouTube, itself in terms of all the things that it offers. It's advantageous to also have some things off platform that you're earning money from, just from like a security standpoint, in case you get hacked standpoint, all those things. But in terms of what you can generate on platform, like if you're actively trying to generate on platform money, you really can generate, really good money from on platform. Next up, Tube Spanner, thanks for the super chat. Danielle, hope you're doing great. Says, got an email the other day telling me how to read maps backwards. Turns out it was just spam. That's a good one. Like it took me a second. I had to kind of, I was like, okay, spam, let's read it backwards, kind of see what it is. I like it though. Yeah, Chantel says the same. So it's sad that I like that one. Yeah, I'm feeling you, Chantel. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. Like that one was all right. No sad trombones happening over here. We're doing air horns instead for that one. All right. So next up, we've got Rejoice Refuge is the name of the YouTube channel. They upload when they have time, been on YouTube for less than 6 months. The goal of the channel is to have fun. And the question is, I have an Apple laptop and an iPhone, and I'm wondering what is the best yet cheapest mic and possibly other equipment that could work for recording songs and singing. I'm not sure about whether I'll record to share eventually or not. At this point, I'm mostly asking because I've noticed the cheap mic headsets I use either blow up when I sing into them, or they literally cut out, like they think they're detecting a sound/mic-related sequel to stop transmitting all sounds. So if you're singing, I would invest money into a good microphone. So I know that you're looking for like a cheap microphone, but if you're singing, I would invest money into it because it can make a huge difference in the quality of the output that you get. So you can't see it on camera right now, but you can see this in some of my videos on TikTok. I think I've probably showed it in like a YouTube video or two, probably in like a short is probably where you'd see it on YouTube. But I have an area over here where I do some music productions in there. I'll like sing sometimes. I'm not a good singer. I got auto-tune, have to because I suck. But like I'll sing a little bit in there. I rap like if you've seen the Coffee song. Like I do that kind of stuff. And one thing that I noticed for myself, and this happened a long time ago when I first started messing around with all this stuff, is I was doing the same thing where I was using, these like it gets the job done kind of mics, but it's just not really giving you what it is that you want. The moment I got a mic, I think the first one that I got back in the day was like an AKG, not sure the model number, but it was like an AKG microphone. And, it was, at that time, it was like, I think it was like $300, which was like, holy cow, I can't believe I'm spending this money on a microphone. I felt guilty about it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's just a dumb, like, what am I doing? But that mic added so much fun and, I don't know if confidence is the right word, but it just added so much to the experience because instead of me struggling with the microphone, instead of me being like, man, I bet this would sound so much better if I got a mic that was good enough to where it allowed me to be able to provide that experience for myself, and it increased the quality of everything that I was making, which made it more pleasurable for me. Right, made it more pleasurable when I was making it. Made it more pleasurable when I was listening to it back, like in that moment. When I would burn it to a CD, because this that particular thing was back in the day. But when I would burn it to a CD, then listening to it in the car, made me just feel better about everything that I was doing. So because of that, I would I would save up and I would get yourself either one of these or another microphone, depending on, the environment that you're in. So a couple things that are important to note is that when it comes to these microphones, like some of them have the requirement to where you have to, connect it to an audio interface to power it and stuff like that. Like this, for example, this requires phantom power, which basically means that you get power from the device that you're recording it into. But a lot of cheap interfaces, like for example, the Focusrite Solo, that has phantom power, and that'll, get the job done for you if you have it connected to a computer. I think that's like, somewhere between like $90 and $100, I believe, for the Solo. And then, get a mic on top of that. There are USB microphones that you can use, but a lot of those aren't for singing either. A lot of them are for, just live streaming and, recording voices and like that kind of stuff, but not necessarily for singing or just for music in general. So when you're using them, you run into some additional problems. Like, for example, the headphones that you're using, if they're not closed back, then in that case, that extra audio will just kind of bleed into those, mics that will, and it'll pick up everything. And then if you have closed backs, it'll reduce that a little bit. But a microphone like this, it's harder for it to pick up that extra information because it's picking up here and not necessarily over here. Right. So these types of microphones can be really advantageous, especially if you're recording in like a louder environment, that kind of stuff. But this microphone, this is one of the newer ones. This is the DB version, where it gives you a little bit of extra gain on it without a cloud lifter. But this microphone, like the Shure SM7B historically, a lot of people use this for singing. This mic is like, I think it's somewhere around like $350, $400, but you can get it, they have sales on them from time to time on like Sweetwater. Sometimes you'll find them on Amazon, but you can get them from like, we'll say $300 to $400. And Michael Jackson, if you're old enough to know who Michael Jackson is, which I hope that young people still know who Michael Jackson is, but basically if you're old enough to know who Michael Jackson is, he used this microphone. So it's really good for singing, just based on, how it picks everything up and all of that. So I can't recommend one of these enough for what it is that you're doing. And also if your room isn't treated and stuff like that, then something like this is going to be a great solution. Like what you can do is you can make the adjustment on the interface and you can literally put it up like this and do your thing if it's like turned down in your interface, and you can sing right up to it, or you can give your, if you want that, kind of heavier proximity, or you can, pull it out a little bit and then you can like really belt into this thing and it's not even going to flinch. Like it's just going to take it. So I can't recommend one of these enough. Also, because you mentioned the pop also, about what they pop when you sing into them. So as a singer, just really quick, and then we're going to move back to YouTube. As a singer, you might also want to give yourself a little bit of a distance, a little bit of space between your mouth and the microphone also, because what's happening when you are singing into it and it starts kind of like popping and stuff, either one, you're singing directly into it and it's picking up that wind from your mouth, or it's too close to you and you're causing it to peak out. So, you're causing it to clip, and that can also cause those pops that you might be experiencing. Quick little hack for you is you can go to a store and you can get hose like women wear on their legs. You can get those, and you can actually make like a coat hanger type of loop. And then you can stretch that over there, over the coat hanger. And then you can wrap that around something and put it in front of your microphone. And that will lower that plosive thing that you might be getting, if that's what you're getting. That can also lower that considerably. It works kind of like this foam does on this microphone. All right, next up. Okay, so we've got a bit of bird song. They upload every other day. They've been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They do journal making content. The goal of the channel is to make money. And the question is, I recently got a comment that there were too many ads on a video, but they did like the video. I decided to disable the automatic placement of mid-rolls, but now I'm wondering if I should stop mid-roll altogether. What is a reasonable amount of mid-rolls for, say, a 10 to 12 minute video? if you're running mid-rolls on your YouTube videos, the first thing that that you want to think about is the only people that are going to see it are going to be non-premium users. So because of that, you shouldn't take the hit because somebody doesn't want YouTube Premium, but some people do focus on, the viewer experience when it comes to ads as well as, the content. So because of that, it's also important to remember that YouTube does have a tolerance or an ad tolerance for the viewers of YouTube when they're interacting with content. So what that means is YouTube figures out for every viewer how many ads can they throw at them without that user leaving the platform or without it creating a poor experience for that user. And if they are interacting with your content, as long as they're logged in, then YouTube should have that information on them and they shouldn't be getting too many ads. Now, some things do happen to where, they'll show videos back to back or something like that, or ads back to back. And when they show ads back to back, that can make you feel, kind of like, oh man, they just hit me twice. But, you're a content creator and you mentioned here that your goal is to make money from your content. So if your goal is to make money from your content, one of the ways that you can do that on YouTube is ads. And if you add mid-rolls, that's one of the ways that you can increase the amount of money that you're making from YouTube, from your ads. So because of that, in my opinion, I think that you should keep adding mid-rolls if you're using your content as a means to generate revenue. Now, when it comes to the reasonable amount of ads in your 10 to 12 minute video, I would say, 3 ads is probably a good fit, maybe 4. And the reason for that is because YouTube isn't going to trigger all of those ads for every viewer that goes through there anyway. Even if they're not a premium user, it's still not going to trigger every one of those for every viewer that's in there. Some might see them, but most people that go through that aren't going to see every ad that you put in there. Let's see here. Next up. Guitar giveaway channel is our next channel. Love it. They upload every other day. Been on YouTube for a year or more. They do guitar related niche. The goal is to teach others. And the question, this is a long one. All right. So the question is, given that my channel is only 2 months old and highly competitive niche, what's the smartest way to differentiate my content and build early authority, especially when competing with larger, more established creators? Okay, so to answer that question, if you are trying to differentiate yourself from other people in the niche, there's a couple of things that are important to keep in mind. So first is that when it comes to standing out from others, just being yourself and sharing things in the way that you want to share them and sharing your points of view and your experiences and all of those things, that is going to be the most powerful thing that you can do to separate yourself from everybody else. And the reason for that is just like if you walk into a room, there's going to be some people you like a little bit more than others. There are going to be some people you get along with a little bit more than others. And because of that, you're probably going to gravitate to them when you have the opportunity at the next thing that you go to. So because of that, that general thing that happens to us as humans, the same exact thing happens on YouTube, to where, you might, have, 10 different people making the same exact video on something, but it's like, okay, when this person makes them, they're more meaningful to me because I like that person better just based on the way that they do it compared to how this person over here does it, right? Like if you're watching a vlogger, this vlogger over here is going to entertain you differently than this vlogger over here. This vlogger over here is going to have a different, way that they look at things and share things and their level of excitement and all these other things compared to this person over here. And because of that, you're going to gravitate to whichever one, you vibe with better. So because of that, just, don't be afraid to let yourself out of the bag. As creators, especially if you're new, a lot of people have this thing where it's like, okay, oh, you're not new. You have like 10,000 subscribers. So hold on, 7th week on YouTube starting. Oh, wow, look at this. Okay, hold on really quick. Yeah, you're already doing it. Okay, so I stopped at the actual question, but there's a lot more here, and I want to share this with everybody just because I want to let them know how awesome they're doing. So the next part of this question says, we're now monetized after only my 7th week on YouTube since starting. We have 10,500 subscribers and over 7.4 million views with 42.5 thousand watch hours. I would truly like to thank you, Nick, because you've been my #1 YouTube mentor teacher from day one. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely love seeing that. But when it comes to how you're doing, I just want to let you know that you are already in the top, in terms of how fast this is all coming together for you. You're already in like a high percentile when it comes to YouTube. Like you're crushing right now. 10,000 subscribers in 7 weeks. You're doing awesome. So I just want you to know that. And that by itself means that you're probably already standing out. Now, I know the channel is a guitar giveaway channel. So because of that, I don't know if this is happening because of the giveaways that you're doing, or if people are coming in because they are, they just love your content. I'm not sure what the scenario is. Pulling up your channel here real quick. Oh, okay. You're not even talking about guitars. Hold on. So, okay. Yeah. So you're not, so you have like some, it looks, no, yeah, you're not even really, some guitar stuff on here. Okay. Yeah. You're kind of mixing it up here. Okay. I see. Yeah. So yeah, you're doing awesome with the content that you're publishing. I'm going to guess that a lot of that, I'm looking for your popular videos here that cause this to happen. Okay. I see. Yes, you have one on here with 6.9 million views, another with 177. So one thing that's happened is with the subscribers that you are growing right now, I'm not 100% sure if these people are coming over to your main content at all. Hold on, going to the popular here. Okay. Yeah. So it looks like you're having trouble getting any traction on the long form content. So it looks like everything you're doing is coming from shorts, which is fine. It still doesn't discount anything that I mentioned before about how much you're crushing it. But one thing that I would do is I would try to get you in here more if you're not already. And the reason for this is because one of the things that you can do to stand out is you being the part of it. Right now, like this 6.9 million view video that you have, you grew your channel right now on other people, right? So since you grew this channel on other people, then it's going to be challenging for you to stand out like on your own, because the people that have interacted with the channel don't, with a lot of this, like they don't know you yet, right? So because of that, I think that starting there and, just making good guitar content is going to be the path for you. You can still use the other people that you're using, because it looks like a lot of this is other content. You can still do that. However, if you want to like really stand on YouTube and you want to grow an audience that cares about the content that you are making and that they want to come to you to watch that content, then in that particular case, I would start making more original content. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Chad on the road. What's up, Chad? Hope you are doing great. Trish does stuff. What's going on? Nice to see you in here. Tango in the kitchen. Valentine Station says Road Go has an issue where the power button doesn't always work. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I like Rode products too. Beards, Heads, and Threads. Love that channel name. They say they have the Rode Pod Mic, USB, the NTG Shotgun, and the Go Wireless mics. Love them all. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I've got all those. I've also got the Rode Broadcaster back here. We have the Procasters over in the other place. Yeah, I'm a huge Rode fan. They make great products. Build and Fix with Mooney. What's up? Hope you're doing great. So let's see here. Sue says, where's D? So D is, he is at his place. I'm streaming by myself today because I was a little bit under the weather yesterday. So since I was a little bit under the weather yesterday with a little bit of crossover today, but I'm like 99.9% today. I've actually felt a little bit better earlier, but I'm like a little bit, low right now, just a smidge, like nothing that is important. But I just didn't, like we didn't stream together just to be on the safe side, because I don't want to spread it over to him. So let's see here. So Chat on the Road uploads one time per week or more. They do travel and exploring vlog. The goal is to quit their job and be a full-time creator. And the question is, during an intro, is it better to use B-roll showcasing what your video is about, or talking right at the beginning to create excitement and hook in the video? When you are starting your YouTube videos, it's important to think about the thumbnail and the title. If this is for long form. And the reason that this is important is because your thumbnail and your title create an expectation for the viewer, and you want to make sure that you're meeting that expectation. So it's going to be different per the content that somebody's making. So for example, like let's say, and I give this example in one of the videos that I published, that same video that I referenced in terms of, actually I have a video on my channel about how to start YouTube videos. This is where I mentioned that one. But basically, if you have a fishing channel and the entire video is framed around the idea of the best fishing locations in some area, then in that case, the thing to experiment with there would be like, okay, if that's what this video is about, and I put some really pretty scenery in my thumbnail, and the person clicking on this is going to expect seeing, or could possibly expect seeing, these different locations, let me give them like a setting the scene view of some of the locations that we're going to talk about. And with that, maybe you have like a drone shot, maybe it's just a shot of a lake or something like that while you're, talking in the background, whatever. But the idea there is to make sure that you're like, okay, they're going to be expecting, some of these locations. So because of that, let me just start showing some of these locations. Maybe I'm not talking about them in detail yet, but maybe I just want them to see the scenery so they can be like, wow, those look like some cool places while you're getting into the video. And then once you get past that part and you start getting into the actual content, then in that case, you can cut it to you or whatever the thing is. But that's something you would experiment with there. Now, on the other side of that, let's say that you are somebody that is making, videos about an iPhone and a feature that's in an iPhone. Well, in that case, you may or may not show the iPhone when somebody first comes into that video, because it might not be super important for the context or for the expectation that was created for them to physically see an iPhone. It might be perfectly okay for you to say, the iPhone made some major updates and we're going to be talking about it today. Let's get into the video, or, whatever your thing is. And then just get into the content itself and then bring the visuals of the iPhone in at that point. Right. So it's all based on what the expectation of the viewer is, not necessarily this is always better, or, this is always better type of thing. So what I recommend that you experiment with both for the videos that you publish, but when you're experimenting with them, just be intentional about that side of things. Everybody here, I think I put out a tweet about this. If not, it's in the queue and it'll be going out soon. But and make sure you're following me on Twitter or on X. If you're not yet, just look for Nick Nimmin over there. But basically, when it comes to the intros of your videos, the most important thing that you're being intentional and that you are considering the expectation that somebody might have when they're clicking on it. Because a lot of people, they will make videos, and when it comes to packaging the video up with the thumbnail and title, it's more about like, okay, here's the video. How can I represent this in the thumbnail and title just for the video? But if you do it in the other way, to where you're like, okay, I'm going to make a video on this topic. Before I make this video, what would be the best way that I could represent this from the outside? And then you come up with that idea. You can either actually make it, or you can just kind of sketch it out so you have some rough ideas. And then when you go to actually make the video, then you can say, okay, if this is what I'm going to do with the thumbnail and title, then what a viewer's probably going to expect when they come into this, or they might expect, is that, they might want to see this, or they might want to hear this, or they might just, expect somebody to be sitting there talking about this, or whatever the thing is. And then you try to match that when you go to make the video. So those types of things, often require like a workflow adjustment, but those types of adjustments can also make a really big difference when it comes to the overall performance of your content, because not only are you being intentional with everything, but you're also being really strategic when it comes to like, okay, here's my thumbnail and title. I don't know. I just can't find something good for this idea. Okay, maybe I shouldn't make it about that idea then. Maybe I should make it about something else where I can represent it in a better way when it comes to the thumbnail and title. And then I'm going to go make the video based on how I figured out how to represent it. Tish Does Stuff says, is this for members only? No, it is not. You are more than welcome to hang out, ask questions. I got a form down in the description that I'm pulling questions from. So here's something that I'm going to start doing, by the way. So sometimes, most of the time during these streams, we get through everything. But one of the things that I'm going to start doing is for some of the questions, probably not all of them, but for some of them, if I'm like, yeah, this would probably be a good like shorter video, is I'm going to start answering some of these like after the stream or just on another day, where I'll probably sit right here and then I'll pull up the form in front of me, and any questions that I didn't get to, I'm just going to start going through them. And if I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to, be something good that will, matter to, a few people, then I'm just going to start using these also for like shorter videos to record that I'll either throw up on YouTube Shorts, or I'll throw up over on my TikTok account and my Instagram account. So let's see here. So Fish Camp TV And really quick, so Nick Satrong Equipment says that workflow is what I'm worst at so far. I need to work on getting my packaging figured out before I start filming. Great advice. Yeah, when it comes to that, these are just like little nuances that, that you just kind of have to run across or you have to, think about. And when it comes to creating content, especially, I'm not sure how long you've been making videos, but a lot of times just our default is like, okay, I got like, what's this next video going to be? And then you start making the video and working on the video, scripting it out and all those things. And then for a lot of people, the thumbnail and the title is an afterthought. And because of that, a lot of people will pay the price because they have great content, but they just can't figure out how to package it up. But if you start packaging it up first, or at least just, you don't have to actually make everything if you don't want to, but just being like, okay, I'll probably, here's some ideas for the thumbnail for this, and here's some idea for the titles, and how are these thumbnails going to work together with the title to help me win the click. And then the thing that actually makes that powerful is then when you start writing your script and you're considering, okay, this thumbnail and title, what's the expectation, is you can intentionally just nail people as they're coming into the video with whatever it is that that you think that they're expecting there. And that's just a great way to hook people and keep people watching for a longer period of time. Really quick, Archibald Gaming says, how can I link my short to a video? All you have to do is YouTube Shorts has a option. And if you have the YouTube Creator Studio app on your phone, you should be able to do this. But YouTube has an option called related video. Just make sure that you are going through when you're uploading a short and you're filling out everything. And when you're filling out everything, what's going to happen? You're going to get to that part that says related video. Click on that, and then you'll be allowed to select any video that you have on your channel. Yeah, and that's called related video. All right, next up. Did we do Fish Camp TV already? Okay, here we go. So we didn't. So here we go. We're doing it now. Fish Camp TV does bi-weekly content, but on YouTube for a year or more. It's a fishing education channel. The goal of the channel is to quit their job and be a full-time content creator. Nope, that's the wrong one.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. That's a little bit too aggressive on that sip there. Okay, so the question is, my target audience is Louisiana and Texas. And the question is, thanks to the advice that I've got from watching your streams, I fixed the algorithm problem. My impressions are no longer being wasted in Thailand and Vietnam, and I've gotten suggested under some very popular fishing videos. I still don't have the community feature, and I'm desperate to get it. Will paying for promotions increase my chances of getting the ability for my fans to post directly to my community page? No. Is it a case of the rich get richer and the poor get poorer because it's mainly big creators that have it right now and they don't even need it? Who at YouTube decides who gets to be a part of the beta testing features? And I need this feature before YouTube hype drops so my fans can share pics. And I'm putting together a hype task force so I can be the first to be hyped. Oh, that's awesome. So in terms of who exactly decides on this, I'm not sure who makes that call on, hey, these are the channels that's going to get it, because they do test those things randomly so that they can see, how different niches and different, viewers and all that stuff respond to it. When you test anything on YouTube, they do it a bunch of, across a bunch of different things. So because of that, you just might not be, in there yet. In terms of, it being a case of the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, in terms of, large channels having access to these things when they don't need it, and then smaller channels not having access to these things. Some small channels have access to this too. The only thing is you just might not see it as much because, bigger channels have more people interacting. And because of that, they're more likely, just based on scale, they're more likely to have people that are interacting with that particular feature, making posts and that kind of stuff. So it's absolutely not that case. You just unfortunately haven't been in that test group, but hopefully, they'll roll this out to everybody soon. Wish I had a button I could press to get it for you, but unfortunately, none of us do. So Alexis KG King uploads 1 time per week or more. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to make money. And really quick, if you're enjoying this stream, make sure that you do give it a thumbs up. If you're learning anything, give it a thumbs up. Drop some hearts in there. The question is, How to get a lot of subscribers with a PlayStation and no PC. Be super entertaining or be really good at the game. When it comes to not having a PC, what you should do is you should download the Creator Studio app on your phone because you probably have a phone. You have something right now that's allowing you to participate in this live stream. So it might be the browser on your PlayStation, or it might be your phone. So on your phone, you have tools like CapCut that you can edit for free. You can go into the Creator Studio app and you can make adjustments to like your title and things like that there. But you can edit your video on your phone just like you can do it on a computer. It's just a more compact experience, but you can absolutely do it. There's tons of content creators that do everything on their phone, from coming up with video ideas to completely editing everything with like a high level edit, and then, you know, publishing their videos to YouTube. You also have plenty of apps out there that you can make thumbnails with. So you can also, you know, learn how to make thumbnails on your phone. But yeah, so if you don't have a PC, don't look at it as a limitation. Look at it as I need to figure out a workflow based on my mobile device that is going to allow me to do those things. Stanley Orchard right here says he's a phone guy. He said it can absolutely be done 100%. So when it comes to your phone, you know, it's a powerhouse. So, you know, don't look at not having a PC as a limitation. Yes, it would be advantageous to, you know, have one probably, because then you could, you know, do extra stuff with your streams and, you know, that kind of stuff. But you have the ability now to do everything that you need on your PlayStation and then your phone. So once your PlayStation file is finished, and once you're uploading it from your PlayStation to YouTube, make sure that you are uploading it. Make sure that you are uploading it as unlisted. And then once you get it up there, then that allows you to go on your phone and do any modifications to it that you want. You can even download it into your device as well if your PlayStation will let you. I'm not sure if you can download directly from the Creator Studio on a phone. I don't think so, but you might be able to. I'm just going to double check for you really quick, since this will just take me a second. And if so, yeah, it doesn't look like it. So yeah, but on a computer you can just download them directly, but it looks like you're kind of limited on a phone. But the you know, I think there's an app out there actually that might let you download these. So you might want to look for that. Save the files. Yeah, you might be able to save it to files. I'm just going to hit that real quick and see what happens. No, it's just the text. Okay. So yeah, so it doesn't look like you can actually directly download it, unfortunately. So because of that, you're going to need to upload it to, you know, from your PlayStation and then go in and work on it from there. Hey, Jeanette, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Next up on the list, we've got Colton Adams. They upload when they have time, been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They do long form gaming content. The goal is to connect with others who like what they like. And the question is, how do I determine if a video idea is going to be a good idea? I spend a long time recording footage and editing because I do long form content, but sometimes my videos underperform just because the idea was not great in hindsight. This is a great question. If you want to figure out how we're going to start that because I'm recording this too. So I'm just going to start it over. So let's see here. To verify that the videos that you're going to be making are going to be effective in terms of proving that people are going to be interested in them, here are a couple things that you want to do. First, go to YouTube autocomplete. And what that is you go to YouTube search and you start typing in around the topic of the video that you're making or that you're thinking of making. And then you look to see, is anybody searching for anything related to this? If so, then that means that people are interested in that. Number two, you can do that same exact thing on Google just to look for additional, confirmation that people are interested in that. But also, if you scroll down on Google, one advantage there is they have a section called people also search for. So even if people aren't like actively searching for that thing that you're searching for, then one of the things that you can do is you can actually go into that area and be like, okay, well, here's some other ways that people might be thinking about this same idea. Number three is you can use Google Trends. So when it comes to Google Trends, you can also look there to gauge interest in whatever it is that you're wanting to make content about. So for example, if I was making videos about Fortnite, then in that case, I could go to Google Trends and I could type in Fortnite and then, you know, any additional details that I wanted. And then I'll see a trend on if, people are, still interested in that, if it's on the rise, if it's on the decline, and that starts to give you ideas on if you should make content for that. Number 4 is look at other channels who make similar content. If they are a big channel or a small channel, it doesn't matter. You just want to look to see if other people have published videos on that particular subject and if they have done well. And if they have, then that's a green light that people are interested in that particular thing. From there, you just have to figure out how to make the right content that people respond to well, so that YouTube will show it to more people as long as they respond to it well. Other things that can be really helpful is also when it comes to ideas is if you do have any type of communities, and this one's kind of like a kind of low key type of thing, but if there are communities around the type of content that you make, joining those communities and then starting conversations around the ideas that you are considering making videos about can also be helpful for just seeing if people are interested in the topic at all. So for example, if you have a Reddit account, go into the subreddits based on whatever it is that you make content about. And then you don't say, hey, I'm trying to figure out if you guys want me to make this video or not. Don't do that. Start a natural conversation about that thing that you're wanting to make videos about and see what type of response that you get. And by doing that, that gives you the opportunity to just verify if people are interested in that conversation at all. So combine all of those things and you'll be able to identify if people are interested in those videos that you're wanting to make. And 7H3 Cypher says, I'm doing matching type videos and still no momentum. I'm not sure what matching type is, but when it comes to not getting momentum. So for all of us, if we are not getting momentum on our YouTube channels and we're doing everything that we can, then in that case, it means that, there's more that we need to do, right? So like, if you're publishing videos and you're like, okay, I'm doing everything I can and I just can't get that, I can't get any activity, then that means that there's still more in front of you that you have to learn how to do. It could be things like coming up with the video ideas, all with what I was saying to do in terms of verifying that others, have successful videos on the topic, then yes, similar thing. Then that means that they were able to get a good response on that topic. And if you are publishing videos and they're not getting that response, then that means that, there's more work to do on your side in terms of developing the skill to be able to make the content that is going to equal or come close to how people are responding to some of those videos that you're competing with. Next. Okay, next up we've got Yo Ang and I hope I'm saying that correctly. They do daily content, but on YouTube for a year or more. It's entertainment content. The goal is to make money. And the question is, do you feel vertical live streams are more effective format versus horizontal? When it comes to making content, my views on vertical live streams, or not vertical live streams, but my views on vertical content of any type versus horizontal content of any type is that when it comes to the content that you're publishing, if you have people that you are trying to reach and you think they might be in the vertical side, then absolutely make some content for them over there, as long as it is going to help you meet your goals. If you have viewers that might be on the horizontal side, might be watching horizontal content, then making videos for them, live streaming for them, all of that can also be advantageous. There's a huge difference between the two. So the difference is when it comes to vertical content on any platform, it just shows up on people. So you're sitting there in your feed and you're swiping through and it's like, oh, bam. Oh, hey, this person's live, or hey, this person, is just right here in front of me. So you don't have to worry as much. Titles still matter a little bit because it gives context to the content, but you don't have to worry as much about writing a super compelling title. You don't even have to worry about a thumbnail at all if you don't want to. Picking the right screenshot and stuff matters if you're trying to also get people from home pages and search and things like that. But even that, not super critical for the performance of a vertical piece of content if it's live or a video. When it comes to horizontal content, landscape content, in that case, you have additional things you have to get really good at. You got to get really good at video ideas, because if the video idea isn't good, then people aren't going to click on that video. They have to make the decision to click on that video. But before they do, you have to capture their attention with the thumbnail, which is a skill by itself. Then you have to write a title that's compelling for them as well. So you have the topic that if the topic doesn't matter, they're not clicking on it. If the thumbnail doesn't grab their attention, they're going to go right past it. And then if the title isn't compelling or interesting or informative for that person, then they're also going to go right past it as well. If their thumbnail grabbed the attention and they read the title. So you have to get good at all these extra things. In addition to that, with long form content, you also have to capture people's attention for longer periods of time than you do in short form. So shorts on YouTube are longer now. You get up to 3 minutes. However, when it comes to long form content, making a 15-minute long form video or a 10-minute long form video, there's a lot that goes into that compared to holding somebody's attention for a minute or 2 minutes when it comes to YouTube shorts. So because of that, I just recommend that you think about, okay, where am I trying to reach people? And when it comes to live streaming, like, you can live stream to both. I did that when they first dropped the vertical live streams on YouTube. And I had a few streams where I was doing that. And some people actually preferred the vertical, which is cool, right? Because then I was like, hey, I was catching some people over here that weren't, hanging out over on the landscape side. So then it gave me that opportunity there. I was actually thinking about doing that today, actually, but I retracted that just because I was kind of running behind. But yeah, they're just two totally different games. So what you got to think about is when it comes to live streams or videos on, doing them horizontal or doing them vertical, it's really important to just think about which one is going to help you add the right value to the people that you're making content for, and which one is going to help in terms of whatever goals it is that you're trying to accomplish. So for example, if right now all you care about is getting subscribers on the channel, shorts are a really good avenue for that. If what you care about now is monetization, then in that case, depending on how many views you're getting on shorts, usually the experience is that people will make more money when they're making long form content compared to shorts. If you remove the unicorns, that just crush over on YouTube shorts. All right.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Shout out to Roger Wakefield. All right, so next up, we got Scratch and Spoon Lotto. Does daily content, been on YouTube for a year or more. The type of channels, they scratch lottery tickets. The goal of the channel is to make money. Well, hopefully the lottery thing works out, right? Then you'll be making money on both ends. That'd be great. But the question is, I upload every day. It's been going pretty good over the last 2 weeks. My views have dropped a bunch. Is this normal to have such dramatic drop-offs? Yeah, so there's definitely ebbs and flows when it comes to YouTube. It's rare that people just crush it, every single time, and that with every single video, it just goes up and up and up and up. That's extremely rare, and I don't even think it happens, actually. Even the people on the platform, like Mr. Beast, that have like the fastest growing channels, the biggest channels that put every ounce of effort that they can possibly put into their content to ensure that everything is as good as possible, and people with huge budgets and all of that stuff, even they aren't always just, going like that. Like, yeah, if you look at their stats on like Social Blade, for example, you'll see they're like this, right? So there's definitely ebbs and flows on YouTube. So just get used to that side of it. Next up, we've got Steve Adams Stories. They've been on YouTube for less than a year. They do short story and booktube content. The goal of the channel is to be a full-time creator. The question is, I've heard conflicting advice of the importance of comments. Can you point me towards where I can find the official word on whether comments help in the same way like likes and retention do, or if comments are only good for community building? So you can find that content. It's either on the Creator Liaison YouTube channel, or you can find that content on the Creator Insider YouTube channel. Renee Ritchie is the one that has made the mentions of that thing. It's also been mentioned right here in live streams, and Renee works at YouTube. And it's been mentioned in these live streams as well in terms of the comments not having a significant impact on your videos. So if you get a lot of comments, you don't get a lot of comments, it's not a thing that is like heavily weighted when it comes to video performance. But yeah, you can find that content. Like if you went through all of my live streams, then you would eventually find it there. But they've also mentioned that in content as well. Next up, we've got Lolly Changani Club Kachori. They do daily content, been on YouTube for 1 year or more. It's a funny channel. The goal is to have fun. And the question is, how much important to fill proper description tags, keywords, hashtags, and tags for YouTube short videos? So when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to shorts, you can get away with a lot less, actually. But when it comes to just making sure their system has as much context as humanly possible so that they can show your content to the right people, you want to use everything. So when it comes to tags, in that particular case, they're not as important, but you should still use them because they're there, right? In addition to that, when it comes to using keywords in your titles, keywords are not only good for search, they also help your viewers that you're trying to reach identify that the content is about that thing. So keywords are helpful there. When it comes to hashtags, same thing. So YouTube has hashtag results pages. So even though those aren't like super high traffic, people still do use it and they still find content that way. So because of that, adding hashtags just gives you one more advantage and one more way that people can find your content. And then in addition to that, descriptions also just give more context to the viewer that's interacting with your content, and it gives more context to their system. So because of that, and that context is also super important depending on the content that you're making, because if you're making like risky type of content to where it's like, I don't know, YouTube might look at this in like a weird way that might get me in trouble. When you fill out your video description, you're explaining what's happening there. That is also taken into context for the person that is looking at the channel and they're trying to figure out if you've broken a rule or not. So when it comes to the description, not only is it helping, just give more context for the system, it's also, adding context to the viewers. And, if you are making content that is questionable, which I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying, then in that particular case, it gives you that opportunity to add that clarity there as well. Flash your pants up, dude. Hope you are doing great. Cruising is fun anytime. I agree. Hope you're doing awesome. Diane Dobson, what is up? So next up, we've got ChinaJoCarole, I think is how you say this. They do singing, music covers, and original music. The goal of the channel is to quit their job and to be a full-time content creator. And the question is, can you just glance at my channel and tell me what you think? Sure, let's do it. Let's see here. Let's pull this puppy up real quick. And I'm just going to pull it up on screen. Normally, I don't do this just as a request, but like, why not? Let's just go ahead and do it right now. Okay, so first, I'm just going to tell you what I think because that's what you asked for. So right here, if you look at the channel art, I'm guessing that you made this on your phone and uploaded it on your phone. So I would definitely redo this because it looks like you're trying to represent yourself, or not trying, you are an artist and you're representing yourself as so. So because of that, like some of your thumbnail pictures look really cool. I would update this to reflect that, that vibe that you have right here. So that when, somebody lands on your channel page, everything looks nice and branded. I would do the same exact thing here. Instead of having yourself as a kid here, I would take one of these pictures and I would put yourself in there as well. So then you just have nice, consistent, branding of yourself as the artist going across everything. Because here, what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring attention to yourself and your music and what it is that you're, doing here. So because of that, make sure you're highlighting yourself in all of these different places so that you can just have a nice, cohesive, kind of vibe here. And then as we scroll down the page, here, I would move your shorts to the bottom so that people can find your songs here. You might be doing songs as well, but I would definitely move the shorts down here to the bottom, because if somebody's in this view right here, and if they see your main channel page, then that means that they're coming in from a long form video, maybe that they have searched for something and your channel popped up there somehow and they're coming in that way, or somebody has shared your channel. And because of that, you want to represent all of this well, but you also want to make sure that there's a strong focus here on the landscape content, right? On the like full videos like this. And then when it comes to shorts, if somebody clicks on a short or they're watching it on their device and they click on your channel name there, then what's going to happen is it's going to take them to a page that is your shorts first. And then they get to have that experience over there. So because of that, you can still have the shorts on here if you want to. If you're like, yeah, I want people to come over and, get to know this like casual side of me as well. Then in that case, I would just move these down here to the bottom so that they're still there and they can still find them. And they can still do it here, right, too. But I would just move those down here if you want them featured on this page so that, so people can get to them quickly if they need to. But the real focus is on your long form content. Another thing is it looks like you've got a decent amount of, videos here. I would also make sure that you do, just fully fill out your channel page here also, because as an artist, because I listen to lots of music on YouTube, I explore artist channels and things like that. So I'm just telling you this based on just like as a viewer, right? Is when I go and I'm looking at a channel, I like to be able to find content that's categorized on the channel. So like, for example, if you have songs about relationships, then that would be like one playlist that you would put here. Still have your videos, still have your popular videos, but if you have a song about like relationships, have that. If you have if you have songs about, just like, something uplifting or something like that, then have that playlist, those types of things. But take your songs and break them down into categories, and then put those categories onto the channel page. Yeah. So just at a glance, I would definitely focus on those things. Another thing that can be helpful as well is you're on covers. So because of that, you're going to be waiting for people to search for these covers. And then of course, some people are just going to have this recommended to them on YouTube and they're going to come in that way. But one thing that you might also want to experiment with is talking about, like the emotions involved in the song and not necessarily the song itself, especially when you start putting out like original content and all that. And the whole idea there is that it's something that will, kind of take your pain away, or something that will relieve your stress, or, something to help you get over a broken relationship is more impactful than a song name with a, artist name after it. Right. So because of that, with some of the covers, it makes sense to do that. But when you're doing original music, if you don't have a lot of people that are interacting with the content that by default know who you are, then, kind of framing things in that way can help you get discovered a little bit easier on YouTube. All right. Yeah, my pleasure. So next up, we've got, also, I didn't mention it, but also like the subscribe that you have on your thumbnails, take that stuff off. Like none of that matters when it comes to the thumbnail. Just take that off. You've got you and you've got a microphone. So that's pretty clear that it's a song. Take off the subscribe icons from your thumbnails, because those are just distractions for people. Like nobody's going to subscribe just because you had it in your thumbnail, right? Like they're going to come in, they're going to want to hear the music first. So because of that, just remove that kind of stuff, because it doesn't add any value to people deciding on if they're going to watch your content or not. Next up, we're cruising through these today. So Root Pursuit does bi-weekly content. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. The type of channel is junk journal craft tutorials, but expanding the niche to craft organization. And the goal of the channel is to connect with others who like what I like. And the question is, my name is Kelly. I've launched a craft organization 7-video series free course, including a free download written version of the course. Having trouble deciding how to improve my thumbnail on the first video, since I want to express it as a free course. It's not focused on a catchy phrase. The video had about 7,000 views in the first 1 to 3 days, and it came to a screeching halt. 93% of my subscribers are not subscribed. I recently discovered this. Just looking, viewers, 93% of the viewers are not subscribed. Just looking at for some strategies. Obviously, in the future, I will be religiously asking people to subscribe. Thanks in advance. So I'm just going to look here. I'm not going to pull this up on the screen unless I need to. But let's see here. Let's see what you got going on. I'm actually going to move these around here to put the chat over there. Hey, I see you over there, Doug, by the way. Hey. All right. So, okay, you're moving along already. Like you got like 19,000 subscribers. Okay, good. So you got some people that know you. In terms of people not being subscribed to the YouTube channel, yeah, I would definitely make sure that you are, just reminding people to subscribe and stuff. Like people are going to, subscribe naturally, but you can always increase it by asking people to subscribe at the right time in your video. Don't do it right at the beginning. But I'm just kind of looking to see what it is that you have. Yeah, so a couple things that can be really effective for your type of content specifically. And I'm just going to pull it up because that's where we're at today. That's how we're rolling today, is we're just pulling them up anyway. So here we go. So one thing for this type of content specifically that can be really effective, and you might have some of these, I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Is here you have like chaos to creativity, unpacking purged boxes, right? So if the message is chaos to creativity, And then you have like put it away and step 5. Like these types of things just work against you when it comes to thumbnails, right? Because there's no like real information there. The thing that you're highlighting here, chaos to creativity, doesn't really mean that much unless you read the title. What you want to think about when you are making thumbnails is you want to think to yourself, if the title didn't exist at all, and all somebody had to figure out what my video was about was the thumbnail, what exactly about my thumbnail, and just ask yourself this question when you're making thumbnails, what exactly about this thumbnail would help somebody be able to understand that this might have something to do with something that they might care about, right? When you ask yourself that question, it causes you to, just kind of look at it a little bit differently. So I would definitely do that. American Accent Training with Jess. What's going on? Hope you are doing great. Welcome to the stream. Happy you're here also. And same here, you have like step 6, right? And I'm going to guess this might be part of the thing you're talking about. You have step 4 is here. So these things look great on your channel page, right? So like if somebody comes to your channel page and they see this and they're like a part of this series, absolutely, this is going to help them identify this, right? But a better thing that you can do to facilitate this for your viewers so that you can focus the thumbnails on things that are actually going to attract viewers is using like pinned comments, using end screens, using info cards to let people know that this is part of a series. And when it comes to your thumbnails, things specifically in your case, because you're doing, like organization and that kind of stuff. So here, something that is extremely effective is just like before and after photos, that kind of thing. You can even have yourself in here to where you break it up into thirds. So you have you here, and then over on this side, it's before and after, or you could even do a horizontal split where it's, before and then after, right? But the idea is to better illustrate progress or a result here versus just filling it up with a bunch of text, right? Now this particular thing, like when you heavily rely on text, like some people do that and you can get away with it. But if you're trying to connect with people that are interested in your subject matter, then using that imagery or words that will stand out to them are going to be helpful. So for example, here you have experience a junk journal retreat walkthrough. The only way that somebody would know what a junk journal retreat is, this is a little nuanced thing that I want everybody to pay attention to if you're trying to get better results on your videos. So right here, unless you already know what a junk journal retreat walkthrough is, this isn't going to be meaningful, right? So because of that, trying to, from the outside, you can do it in your videos. You can totally do it in your videos in terms of insider language and, that type of thing, to where it's like, hey, if somebody's into this, then they're going to understand these words. But if you want to make your content more accessible to people that are just having these problems that they're trying to fix around, junk and clutter and, all this stuff, then in that particular case, using those types of words, I think junk is a step in the right direction. But because you're connecting it to a retreat, I think it creates a little bit of a disconnect there. But basically, this is one where also either before and after, or clean up a mess or get organized. Like if you're going to use text, right? Just a big get organized, and then it has you over there looking at the camera, right? Something like that. Kind of like this, but just a big get organized, right here. And then the whole idea there is that if you were to use the words get organized, then what that does is for somebody that is into organization, or they're like, man, my life's a mess and I'm trying to, get everything figured out. Then when they see that, then it directly speaks to them immediately at a glance, right? Because one of the things that we do sometimes as creators is we'll put all this stuff in the thumbnail, but none of it really, junk journals are a type of craft. Okay. Yeah. Then that will mean something to people then. Okay. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Yeah. That was my bad on that one. That will mean something to people. But the idea is to just make sure that everything is accessible as possible, so that if you are trying to grow the channel, get more views, all those things, that you, one, make it to where you're not just filling a thumbnail up with a bunch of stuff, but it's a bunch of stuff that's meaningful, to a potential viewer, not just stuff to kind of fill it up to talk about everything in the video, but stuff that is meaningful to the viewer to help them identify that the content's about something that they might care about. And another thing here, and you can do this same kind of thing here. So just a really quick best practice thing for you as well, because a lot of people do this. Like if you go into, and I talk about this from time to time in live streams and videos, but like if you go into my comment section, you open people's channels, you see this particular thing a lot. So what you have here is you're focusing this particular video on the show, and then desk organizing fast sort, right? So this is another nuance thing we're gonna get into. So first, structurally, when it comes to titles, any identifiers like sorting Sunday, if that's the name of your show, which I think it is, then in that case, that gets moved to the end of your video description or of your title. Like as an example, in this live stream today, I put Nimmin live at the end of this one just for fun today. So with that, I put the show name at the very end. And the reason for that is because the thing that matters more to YouTubers is at the front. And if I front load the name of the show, then you have to already be familiar with what this show is, if that's as far as you get. Right? Because everybody's glancing when it comes to home pages. So if the first bit of information you see is Nimmin live, you might tune out before you get to the rest of the title. But when it's focused on, learn how to grow on YouTube, then for content creators that are struggling and need help, which is where the Q&A comes in, with this conversation, then this helps them identify like, oh, well, I wonder what this is. Maybe I can, learn something here. And then I put the show, right? So best practices, episode numbers, show names, anything like that. Those types of things go at the end of your title if you're going to use them. Other things is here you have desk organizing fast sort. This is fine. But if you wanted to level this up a little bit, make it about the viewer. Because this is saying kind of like what's happening or what it is that you're doing. But if you make it about the viewer, then you make it about a problem that you're solving in your specific case. So like here, instead of desk organizing fast sort, how to organize your desk faster, or, how to organize your desk. And then there, it's all about the viewer and the value they're going to be adding to them, but it's still the same content in terms of what it is that you're offering. You've just packaged it a little bit differently to make it about the viewer, right? So you're still doing the same thing. You're doing this fast sort on your desk, but when you make it about the viewer and title it towards the viewer, then that, helps kind of express the value of that content from the outside, if that makes any sense. So hopefully that helps. Next up on the list, time for the coffee song. You haven't heard it in 3 months. Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to drop it real quick because I need to drink some water really quick, and I don't have it like right here. So.
Give me a Joe, I'll be getting my fix in my kitchen, but look at the logo, the plug for the show. Whoa. It don't matter the flavor, I'm gonna get haters. A cup or a pot of the gold, I just need you to hold for a little bit longer. This song ain't a joke, it's a banger, you know or you don't. You will hang or you won't, but this thing isn't stopping till it's at the top. And I go back upstairs, man, I hope I don't drop it, I know that it's hot. It might seem one's enough, but apparently not. Take a cinnamon shot, mix it up on the spot. Give it a try, you might like it a lot. Need to hit the coffee maker, get another cup. Fiending for caffeine, I need it in my mug. I need to hit the coffee maker, get another cup. Fiending for caffeine, I need it in my mug. I need to hit the coffee maker, get another cup. Fiending for caffeine, I need it in my mug. I need to hit the coffee maker, get another cup. Fiending for caffeine, I need it in my mug. Cheers, put your mugs up here, put your cups up here, put your tumblers up here. Now drink it, cheers. Put your cups up here, put your mugs up here, put your tumblers up here. Now drink it,
All right, so we are back. Okay, so next up, we've got... yeah, we're cruising through these today. This is great. Okay, so tips for cruisers. Uploads 1 time per week or more, but on YouTube for a year or more. They do cruise ship reviews and tips. The goal is to quit their job and be a full-time creator. The question is, what are the tools to use to see what others in your niche are creating and if it's outperforming compared to how they normally do? How recent or far back should the videos be? Any tools that you think might not be worth it that are out there? So TubeSpanner has a tool. They are still kind of fine tuning it. So it's in beta right now, but TubeSpanner has one of those. The videos that you're looking for should be within a recent, amount of time, like 3 months or less, sooner the better. But basically, TubeSpanner has one that they're working on. You can find that one at tubespanner.com. It's in the browser extension. I think that IQ might have one, and ViewStats also has one, and I think 1 of 10 has that as well. So those are called outliers. There's another one called creativefuel.ai, and they also have the outliers. So what you're talking about there is like outliers, to where it shows you, videos in your niche that have broken out, or videos just in general that break out compared to the average performance of videos on the channel. But the term for that is an outlier. So yeah, all of those tools do that thing. Cosmic Journey, I'm not sure, but you're not the only person reporting this. So on Reddit today, when I woke up, I saw, and what he's talking about here is, or what they're talking about here says, does anyone know why we're getting the real-time view errors in YouTube Studio? I saw people talking about this on Reddit when I woke up. Most of the posts were like a few hours old, so I wasn't sure if they, had patched it up or not yet. I looked at mine, and mine was fine. So I'm not sure, or I wasn't sure that it was still happening. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what is going on there. I haven't looked yet just because I've been kind of, busy today, but you might want to look on x.com. If you go and you look at the Team YouTube account, or the YouTube Liaison YouTube account, or sorry, Twitter account, then they usually report those types of things just to kind of let everybody know what's going on. Okay, so Scale Train Station's happening there, and Mr. Elmore's Music Lab happening there as well. So yeah, and Jerry says that he was getting the errors too, views increasing, but impression 0, CTR 0. They're aware and they're working on it. Okay, so Jerry checked in, and they are aware and they are working on it. So it's just an error. So it should fix soon. These types of things happen sometimes. Next up, we've got Brocky Steve. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do YouTube growth content. And the question is, I started a new niche with a dormant channel, about 50 subscribers. First few videos got 3,000 impressions, 10 videos and I'm not getting many at all. Should I ditch this channel and start a fresh one? No. So when it comes to YouTube, sometimes it just takes time to get traction. I'm not sure if you have experience making content or not, but I know that some people have this philosophy that if they make 10 videos and the channel isn't blowing up, that they abandon the channel. So if you have experience with YouTube and you have experience, getting faster results on YouTube because you know how to make content, then in that case, it can kind of help you verify niches. But even in that case, usually it just means you either don't understand the niche, like if you're doing like a faceless channel or something like that, it means that you either don't understand the niche or your videos just aren't good enough to compete yet. So because of that, don't abandon the channel. Instead, just focus on the content, the topics, all of those core things that are important when it comes to YouTube. Yeah, 10 videos and giving up is not even trying in terms of the way that I look at it. Let's see. That's like me going to the gym 10 times expecting to be fit, right? Not going to happen, right? So sometimes it does, like you know what you're doing, but even when you know what you're doing, it doesn't always happen that way. So, but at the gym definitely doesn't. But I mean, when it comes to YouTube, 7H3 Cypher is our next channel here. They've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to connect with others who like what I like. And the question is, I'm following all of the upload rules, having same file names as in the descriptions, etc. My videos are getting less views than when I started. What am I doing wrong? First, I want to make something clear. So when it comes to YouTube, the file name doesn't matter. YouTube, Todd is actually in a video with Renee Ritchie where they're talking about this. And Todd is actually responsible for the recommendation system on YouTube and how it all works and, all that stuff. And he actually mentions that the file names don't matter when it comes to YouTube. So some people make this like stretch And it's probably because they're getting the information from ChatGPT, which can give you very outdated information. That used to be a thing that people used to say more than 10 years ago, back when I started on YouTube. And they used to, be like, hey, if you want to get your videos to show up and this, that, and the other thing, you have to make sure that your video file names are the same as whatever keyword or keyword phrase that you're targeting, all this stuff. It's not true. Like the reason I think people think that these days is because people are getting their information from ChatGPT, which can be outdated sometimes when it comes to things like that. And you can also, like Scale Train Station says that, you see those types of things being said on Reddit and things like that, usually in communities where it's also people that don't know, anything, about YouTube, or they're just getting started or whatever the thing is. So because of that, you just got to be really careful with that type of thing, but don't look at that as a thing that's going to help you. The thing that matters on YouTube is making sure that when right here, Doug says, Daryl Eves debunked this, 10 years ago. I've experimented with this as well, extensively. I know other people that have, like, it doesn't matter. So when you see people sharing that, it's because I don't know why, but it's probably because they've ran across something that made them, think that, but they haven't actually experimented with it themselves, because then they would know that, it doesn't matter. I'm going to tell you what does matter. So when it comes to YouTube, what you have in your title matters, especially if you're trying to show up in search, but also just given their system context. YouTube's system is smart enough to look at your video and see everything that's happening in your video. It watches your video, it listens to your video, it identifies every single frame in your video, and analyzes every single frame in your video. It also reads your title, and it also reads your video description as well. So because of that, you do want to make sure that you do have any keywords or relevant information like that in your titles. You also want to make sure that you do have a description that explains what the video is about. And you can, if you're trying to show up in search, especially for like Google and stuff as well, you can add keywords to your descriptions as well, or keyword phrases, as part of natural language. You don't want to put like word, 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 word. Instead, you want to explain things in natural language and then insert those keywords in there. That's part of search optimization. But the thing that actually matters more than anything else when it comes to rankings anywhere on YouTube is how people respond to the content. So you're saying that your videos are getting less views than when you started. It could not necessarily be related to you naming your file wrong, or necessarily even what you're putting in your description. It could be related to the topics of the videos that you're making. It could be related to the packaging in terms of the thumbnail and the title of the videos that you're putting out. It could be related to how people are responding to your content once they get into the video. So here's what you want to do. First, you want to go and you want to look at your click-through rate on your videos. You don't want to look at it in the averaged out view on YouTube. You want to go into advanced mode in your YouTube analytics. Once you're in advanced mode, you want to go to traffic sources. And then in traffic sources, you want to look at homepage. You want to look at suggested videos. And you want to look at search, depending on where you're wanting to get views from. You can look at all of them as well. And then start looking at how many impressions. An impression on YouTube is when YouTube is showing your content to somebody on the platform. So you want to see how many impressions you're getting for each of those things. And then out of those impressions, you want to see what your click-through rate is there. So what you do is over time, you start to figure out, okay, wow, I've got, 10,000 impressions and my video is already down to like a 1% click-through rate. Means that your packaging or your topics themselves are not that great and they need work, right? So you have to learn those things, learn how to make those better. And then you also want to go and you want to look at your audience retention reports inside of your YouTube channel. You get this with every video that you publish. And when it comes to your audience retention reports, what you want to look for is you want to look for exactly where people are leaving your videos. That's the main report. In that particular one, it's going to show second by second how people are responding to your videos on YouTube. And you want to look for, okay, did I even make it past? Did I get people past this first 30 seconds of the video? If so, how far did they get past that 30 seconds, right? How low was the viewership once I did get past that 30 seconds, right? How many people completed this video? You want to look at those types of things and look at what you were doing around those areas where people were leaving the video and see if you can, try to guess what people, or what could have caused people to want to leave those areas. Did they get bored? Were you talking too much? Was there an error in your edit somewhere? Was there an error in your audio? Is your audio bad? Those types of things. Did you not, have a good hook? Did you interrupt the experience for the viewers by adding an intro when your video first started? Those sorts of things. Then after you do that for the absolute retention, the next thing that you want to do is you want to, there's a drop down to where you can choose compared to other videos. So what you want to do there is you want to also hit that drop down. And then when you hit the drop down for compared to other videos, it's going to show you how competitive you're being. So when you have that, then it shows you how your videos are comparing to other videos of a similar length on YouTube. So when you are using those, there's that information in your audience retention reports, and then you're looking at your click-through rate, then that starts to paint a picture of what could be going on with your video, right? And then if you do have views coming in, but they're under what you normally get, then in that case, that's where you can also look at like engagement and things like that. And you can really start exploring the idea, like, okay, well, maybe this video didn't do well because it was just for a subset of my audience and not necessarily my audience at scale. Or maybe this video didn't do good because the topic itself, wasn't really just a perfect fit for the people that I make videos for, that kind of stuff, right? Like it might be relevant to some people, but not everybody that I make videos for. So because of that, go and start looking for those types of things. But it's definitely not your file name. And when it comes to like your descriptions and stuff, I know somebody mentioned, let me find it real quick. So Cosmic Journey said, are there certain words that YouTube doesn't like to promote? For example, anytime I add WTF in the title, I notice I don't get any push. Yeah, so even stuff like that, right? Like you don't want to put obscenities in there, but like WTF, you're going to be fine. But you don't want to put like actual like curse words and things like that. And the reason for that is because it can cause people to report them, that kind of stuff. Some people still do it, but it can cause people to report videos and that kind of stuff. And when you start getting reports and things like that, YouTube's going to consider that also, right? So you can do those types of things. You can also add that to your thumbnails, those types of things. But I just wouldn't be explicit. I would put some type of censor in there in terms of adding like a little asterisks or something like that, so that it's not actually the word, but it's maybe representative of the word if you're making the type of content and want to kind of represent the the content in that way. Next up, we've got Aim High Skills. Like that channel name. This is going to be good. Says they upload when they have time. Been on YouTube for less than 6 months. They do education content. The goal is to make money. The question is, please provide me the best tested strategy to make money with my channel. Okay. So you have an education channel, which means that you're teaching people stuff. This is like one of the easiest types of channel to make money with, even if you don't get a lot of views. So I'm just going to look to see what it is that you're doing here. Okay, so let's aim higher and become a good public speaker. Great. Okay, so you're teaching people how to become a public speaker. So you are going to need to refine your content because you definitely are going to need more views. Currently, you just have 4 videos. That's not going to cut it. One of your videos is 25 seconds long. The other one is a minute. And it's landscape content. So that's not going to cut it right now. What you want to do is first, you want to start with what it is that you are, who it is that you're in front of. So in your case, you're going to be getting in front of people that are interested in public speaking. So because of that, the fast path is if you're really good at teaching people in your videos, then in that particular case, creating a course for people to teach them public speaking. You're going to have all this free content on your YouTube channel, but you're going to use that so that as people are interacting with that content, you always mention just briefly that you have a course, maybe have a little lower third come up with your website when you are starting the video, that kind of stuff. But basically, you put a link to your course, like in your About Me page and all those things. But basically, you make your course and then you make content that adds value to people. And then people can get information for free. But for the people that want more, or they want structured information, or they want additional access in terms of like, okay, I'm learning about speaking. I want to learn about this in a more structured way instead of having to kind of look through the channel or look all over YouTube to figure out what I'm trying to learn. It's more structured, but you can also add additional things like communities and, direct access to you and all these other things there to where it just adds value to people that way. So course is number 1. Number 2 is, hey, thanks, China. So another thing is, in your case specifically, affiliate marketing. So if there's any other courses, if you don't want to make a course, then in that case, you can make money by bringing attention to other things that are available, other courses that are available that offer what's called an affiliate program, to where you make videos, and instead of sending people to your own course, you spread awareness about those other things. So a way to do this at a beginner level is to go through courses, things like that, and figure out the ones that add the most value to people. And then making reviews of those courses as, as part of your YouTube channel or part of one of the types of content you make on your channel, to bring attention to those particular things through reviewing the content. And by that, you're doing the service of giving a preview of the content and letting people know what it is that they're getting into before they actually make the purchase. So then when people are Googling for that information, that are on YouTube trying to find out information on if they should join that course or not, you have a review right there that is going to hop in the middle of that buying decision, and you're going to inform people on if it's a good course or not. Now, as a part of that, make sure that every course isn't amazing that you're talking about, because in reality, every course isn't amazing and everybody knows that. So because of that, make sure that you're like, hey, this course, I'm going to be honest with you, wasn't that great. But if you're looking for a solution for this, the best one I found so far is this one. So you can find that one down in my video description, right? So that's just a really easy way to make money when it comes to YouTube, is affiliate marketing. Courses are more difficult, but they're still, as long as you're getting in front of people, those can be easier too. But affiliate marketing is fantastic. But for what you're doing specifically, I would start with those two things. Next up, we've got Lauren's Self-Love Studio, Cosmic Journey, my pleasure. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do education content. And the question is, what am I lacking that's resulting in low CTR and interaction? Let's go look. One of the things that I like about pulling up YouTube channels is, like there's so many moving parts when it comes to this stuff. And I like pulling up YouTube channels sometimes because like we can all, kind of learn from, things that other people are doing in terms of, places that we can, improve personally and all of that. So I like pulling up channels for that. And, when it comes to being a new creator, like in your case here, Lauren, like, you're just getting started. So with that, like, I also like trying to help people get over that hump, right? Because sometimes it's, just kind of minor things or things that, might be overlooking. So the question here was about what am I lacking that's resulting in a low CTR and interaction? So I can't watch the actual video content itself because we're live right here. And I don't know if you have music playing that I would get a copyright strike for or anything like that. So because of that, one of the things that I can do though is I can look on the outside. So first, oh wow. Okay. So first I got to talk about the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is that when I'm on your videos tab, one of the videos that I saw here. Yeah. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm just kind of looking through to see what it is that you have. I saw something about like a makeup thing. I thought like on the For You section. Hold on. I'm going to go back here and see if it shows up again. Yeah, here you have makeup routine for content creators, right? So yeah, so for content like that, that's not, targeted towards the people that you're trying to reach, I would make sure that you don't make videos like that for your channel. You're trying to help people embark on a transformative journey towards self-love, mindfulness, and personal growth. Embracing your authentic self unlocks a life filled with joy, purpose, and inner peace. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're doing this because the world needs more of this type of stuff right now. Okay, so truth about feeling unsafe, even after the work. So still feeling pain. Here's why. Okay, so a couple things that you might be able to do that might help is adding a little bit of clarity here. So first, you have the truth about feeling unsafe, even after the work. And I'm just going to hover over this and just kind of see what I'm seeing here on the autoplay. Yeah, it's not giving me much information there. Yeah, so here's still feeling the pain. Here's why. I would get specific here. Like, is this like emotional pain? Is this physical pain? Like, what is this specifically? Just to call out those people. So one of the things that I talk about from time to time is something I call like an audience bridge. And it's when you have a topic that you're trying to make it apply to a certain group of people, so that it might, get more reach. Like in this particular case, you have still feeling the pain, the truth about feeling unsafe, even after work. There's no real context here in terms of who this is for. And it's really vague in terms of, the type of problem that you're solving here. So for example, if this was, still feeling pain after a breakup, or still feeling pain after a loss, or still feeling pain after fill in the blank, then it adds context and directly targets people that are dealing with very specific things, right? Because you can say, I'm helping people with pain in general, but at the end of the day, from the outside, this just isn't very clear on what it is that you're doing. And then you say here, the truth about feeling unsafe. And then even after the work, again, there's just no clarity to what's going on here. So I think the very first thing that I would work on in your case is that clarity. Maybe I've pulled up your channel somewhere before, because look, I see like I got like a full video here. Wonder what, yeah, I guess I pulled up your channel in the past at one time, but basically here, I would work on clarity for your side and what you want to do and how this actually works. Cause I can say work on clarity and then you're like, okay, well, what do I do? Right. So let's talk about that. So when it comes to working on clarity, what I mean is when you're packaging things up like this, you should isolate things down. And first, just look at your thumbnail as a standalone at first and ask yourself, okay, for the people that I'm trying to reach and help kind of get over some of these things, or, kind of improve their lives, what exactly, like who exactly am I targeting with this, or who can I make this for? And then, add those certain types of elements to this just for the sake of adding clarity. So for example, I'm trying to help people that are dealing with a breakup. I'm trying to help people that have had a loss recently. I'm trying to help people that feel overwhelmed. I'm trying to help people that feel left out. I'm trying to help people that feel like outcasts, like anything like that. And make sure that it's clear here who it's for. So by doing that, the people that identify with those emotions are going to be like, oh, wow, I am kind of feeling this right now. I do kind of feel left out right now. I am kind of dealing with this thing right now. So yeah, I wonder what this is about. And then they'll click into it, right? And the same thing here when it comes to your title, the truth about feeling unsafe. Unsafe, like after what? Unsafe, like in what regard, right? I know that there's just general, like I just feel unsafe, but like unsafe from what, right? So adding that type of clarity can really make a big difference in how people respond to it, because then what you do is you make it just easy to understand at a glance from the outside in terms of who's a good candidate for that video. So you just want to ask yourself like, okay, who is it that I'm actually targeting with this video? And some of this starts at the video ideation stage also, before you even put any of this stuff, the thumbnail and title together. But ask yourself, who am I actually trying to help with this particular video? What specific problem am I trying to help people overcome or get awareness about with this video? And then just make sure that you're being clear here. And when you put your thumbnail together, ask yourself, okay, for this person that I'm trying to help with this particular problem, if they were to see this thumbnail without any additional context with the title, anything like that, would this speak to them in some way? And then if the answer is yes, then it's like, okay, cool. Let's move on to the title. And then you look at the thumbnail and you say, okay, if this title is going to speak to them in this way, what can I say in the title to like reinforce this idea or to make it more compelling in some way, or maybe give a little bit more information or something like that, so that you can also, get that win there. And then you ask yourself the same questions here. So if my thumbnail if my thumbnail grabbed their attention, then in that case, I've got their attention, and then they're going to read my title. So if they're going to read my title for that person that I'm trying to help here overcome this pain, then what about this title is going to just reinforce that this is for them, but also make them feel like that they need to watch this video, instead of just like, oh, that looks interesting, or I'll add this to a watch later or something like that. Like, how can I kind of design this to make them feel like, hey, you should probably watch this now. Right. And then you apply those types of ideas to your title. So I would work on those types of things there. And then, yeah, it looks like you have like a whole series here on pain. So we got like pain, peace and pain, invisible wounds, feeling lonely. This might be why and how to heal it. Yeah. Like I think this is heading in the right direction there, right? With the feeling lonely, because then it's a little bit more clear, but you're kind of missing the mark here. Like instead of invisible wounds, this would be more impactful if it was like feeling lonely, ? Right? Now, keep in mind when it comes to people clicking on your videos, that's just the first step. So the next part in that is that once they do click on your video, once you are saying these things from the outside, then in that particular case, man, I'm trying to like close this here. Clear. Did I move it? There we go. Okay. So what you're doing is you are, once they click on it, then you have to make sure here, what it is that they're getting here is also going to be good for them. So what I would recommend to you, and you can do this kind of stuff where you're kind of like loosely vlogging this as well, but I would do a lot of experimentation on the channel. So experiment some videos where you're doing it like this, experiment some videos to where it's outside like this, but the camera's just stable. Because sometimes, like, I'm not sure exactly how this was put together, but sometimes, you know, people, you know, the camera's moving around, stuff like that can be, hey, Melinda, what's going on? Sometimes the camera moving around, stuff like that can be kind of a turn off for some people. So just trying to experiment with those types of things so that you can make sure that when you are, you know, publishing these, that people are responding to them well. And some of that, you're going to be able to tell by looking in your audience retention reports. This is something that you get for every video. You're not going to be able to tell on 4 views. You're going to need more activity than that. So that's why it's important to make sure that you are, you know, experimenting with those things. And then once you start having videos do a little bit better, then that's where you can really start digging into your audience retention reports and trying to fine tune things from there. But right now, just keep in mind, like with these videos, I think clarity is going to be huge for you. And I think from there, I'm just going to click on this one too.
Do you find yours?
Yeah. And then from there, you know, just making sure that as they come into this video, you're kind of meeting them, you know, based on what they might expect, and that you're talking to them based on what they might expect from the thumbnail and title. And you got people enjoying what it is that you do here. It says, I like the information you share. I have arthritis and you give me hope. So you're adding value here. Somebody's responding to this. That means that you can scale this up. That means that you have to figure out the best practice stuff and dial those things in. And then once you dial those things in, you're going to start getting a lot more of this. So the fact that you already have somebody that's getting value from what it is that you're doing is a huge win. And it shows, like, if you can reach this person, you can reach others. You just have to get the best practice stuff in terms of topics, titles, thumbnails, and the content. You just have to get that together, and then you'll be able to help all these people at scale. Yeah, love what you're doing, though. People need all the help that they can get right now when it comes to some of this stuff. So I love when content creators make supportive, helpful content like this. All right. So next up, we've got Geology Dude is the next channel here. So let's see what's up with Geology Dude. Let's see here. Okay. So for Geology Dude, uploads 1 time per week or more, does science education content, goal of the channels to make money. And the question is, it takes me at least 20 hours to make each minute of video. Most of my videos are shorts. Takes weeks to months to make longer video. Which is better, longer shorts or shorter, longer videos? Depends on what you're trying to do. Like, I wish I could say like, oh, this is always better. But it really depends on what you're trying to do. I mean, you're trying to make money. And if you're trying to make money, then if the way that you're making money is directly on YouTube, then in that case, yeah, I'm actually going to look at your channel and see what kind of results you're getting. But if you're trying to make money, like long form is just like an easier way to make money on YouTube, just because you get more, you know, per view. So because of that, the shorter, yeah, based on your shorts views, hold on, I got to look at the whole shorts page here. Yeah, based on your shorts views, I would make long form content. Like, if your goal is to make money, yeah, make long form videos. Like, these are okay, and they look cool and stuff. Like, these are okay and they look cool, but if your goal is to make money, you have more opportunities for money when it comes for long form content. Like, you can make more with less views. So because of that, yeah, I would focus more on the long form content, but I would also focus on trying to figure out a way to make the videos faster if you can. But because you have to actually go out and do stuff, I don't know if that's possible. One thing that you might want to think about when it comes to creating more content in less time is start looking for anything that you do in your content to where you might be able to make more than one video in a swing. So for example, like here you have the Oyster Bay Erratic Olympia, Washington. What are you doing? Are you like scanning these things? Oh, wow. How cool is that? Okay. Yeah. So what you're doing, yeah, it definitely takes time. I understand that now. I see what you're doing. Yeah. Super cool. But yeah, like if you can have like 2 of these types of things happening at once, so then you have, the videos, like you have more content that you can turn into videos, then yeah, that can definitely be helpful to help you, just increase your output a little bit. Because, 20 hours for a minute of video, Yeah, it's pretty that's pretty wild. But for what it is that you're doing though, with all these scans and everything of the landscape, that might be required. I'm not sure. So one thing that you can continue to do is if you are doing these scans and everything like that, is you could technically, hold on, I'm checking something really quick in terms of length here. Okay, yeah, so your shorts are actually like short too. You're not doing longer shorts either. Yeah, so if it's money, then yeah, I would go more towards the shorter videos but long form content. If the goal is revenue. Grub Mud, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Nice to see you in here. Republic of Me Travel says, at any rate, I much prefer translated subtitles and having the original sound and voice, much more natural and no robotic voiceover and music cutoff. Let's see here. So Alex Sensei, thanks for super chat.
Super chat.
Says, yo, Nick, what's up? What app to use to help me retitle all of my shorts for better attraction? I'm making provocative, opinionated content, but want to adjust titles. So a lot of things offer this right now, but none of them do it well. When it comes to, like, I wish I could say like, oh, this one, is like the one to use, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think any of the tools that do titles right now, I don't think they do them well. Like a lot of them, if you go in there and you try to run a bunch of titles through them, they'll give you all these like weird results. Everything has like a colon attached to it or an M dash or something like that, because they're all using AI systems in order to do this anyway, which is fine, right? Because that basically they're using AI in order to get the end result. And through the prompting that they're doing, you might not be able to get the similar result without that prompt. But a lot of the tools, like when it comes to titles, they're just not that great. Creative Fuel, I know, is a pretty good one. They have that one pretty fine tuned. But I would say out of all of the things that are available and all the things that I talk about, I would say that theirs is I would say that the highest in terms of the quality of return that you get on that one. But really, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. I would just go straight to ChatGPT. And I would learn how to prompt around titles. So when you're working with titles with ChatGPT, let it know a bunch of information first. So like this, and this is where some of the other systems fail, right? Because they don't have all of this information. Some of them will pull it from your channel or like whatever niche that you set in there, but they might not know who it is that you're targeting. They'll know the type of content that you make, right? So if you're trying to write good titles and you're going to be using ChatGPT, then think of this. So in your prompts, let it know who your target viewer is. Tell it, right? Like, okay, this is the people that I'm trying to reach with this particular video. This is what the video is actually about. Here are some titles that I currently have come up myself with this that you can use for context. This is going to be a long form video, and I'm trying to get views from this from YouTube's recommendation system, or I'm trying to get views from YouTube search, or I'm trying to make this title relevant or effective in YouTube's recommendation system and YouTube search. And then from there, tell it to list out titles. Additional things that you should add to it is if you don't want colons in your titles, then tell it, don't add colons. If you don't want M dashes or hyphens, tell it not to use those. Tell it not to use bars, any of those things. So you basically tell it who it is that you're after and those things and what sources you're after and the ideas that you already have for titles. And then you tell it the negative rules in terms of don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And then you should be able to get a nice list of titles from there. And then another thing that you can do is you can also, once it delivers your titles, is you can also fine tune it. And this is where the other tools fail. So basically in ChatGPT, once it gives you those titles back, you can say, you know what, based on my understanding of the audience, because you don't want to give full control, right? Based on my understanding of the audience, I think these particular ones might be the best ones out of this group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those and say, I really like these. Is there any improvements that you could make to these, or give me 10 more that are structured like this or that are kind of like this? And then by doing that, it's going to, it's just going to give you more options that are more in alignment with the ones that you like already. So I would use that instead of, trying to depend on any of the title tools, just because of that interaction that you get in terms of making it better. Because what happens is with a lot of the tools that are out there for making titles is you'll write a title and then you say, give me a title. And then it'll give you like a few options, maybe 10 options, maybe 20, whatever, but it gives you options and like, that's it. So it's like those titles are nothing, or you can just say like, okay, give me more, give me more, give me more, but you can't communicate back and forth with it, right? Instead of, hey, give me more titles, it's, hey, I like this, or I don't like this about these titles, or I'm trying to target this, or, to where you can just keep going back and forth and giving it more information to just kind of help you dial things in a little bit. So for that, I believe the best tool right now for that is mixing your own intuition in terms of what you know about your viewers and all that stuff with ChatGPT. As much as I would love to recommend a tool, ChatGPT is the place that I believe that you should go for that right now. Yeah, this type of thing too, because it does know your personality. You write your scripts there too. Yeah, if you're already using ChatGPT, then yeah, that's it. Lauren Self Love Studio, glad that you enjoyed that. Hey, Carrie, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. So next up on our list here is Guitar Giveaway Channel. Again, does daily content, goals to teach others. And the question is ChatGPT plus paid version. Great timing on this. ChatGPT plus paid version creator Mr. Beast lookalike thumbnails for me in minutes. It's a massive help and game changer for my entire channel. Yeah, it's definitely good at that sort of thing as well. But one thing that's really important, and this is why I mentioned on the title thing that we were just talking about, this is why I mentioned that, because this is why I mentioned the intuition part, because ChatGPT is extremely capable. It can do a lot of really amazing things, but sometimes it's wrong. And when it's wrong, you have to be able to identify when it's wrong or when it's giving you bad advice around what it is that you're doing, right? So because of that, it's important even when you're making thumbnails in there, that you start asking yourself, okay, so this just made me a Mr. Beast-like thumbnail. But the next question is a Mr. Beast-like thumbnail appropriate for the type of content that I make and the viewers that I'm trying to reach? In a lot of cases, the answer to that question is no. So that's where like intuition and knowing who it is that you're trying to reach and understanding your target viewers and all of those things are important, because even though these tools are capable and they can do these amazing things, the things that they're doing, like in the case of the thumbnails, it might not be a good fit for what it is that or for who it is that you're actually trying to reach, right? I think all of that stuff is going to get, fine-tuned. And I think that, Dee and I have this conversation quite a bit, because we talk about the impact of AI and we talk about how AI is going, it's already, disrupting everything. But when it comes to content creators specifically, people are still to get like, full use out of them. People are still, at least for now, this might be solved later too, I'm not sure, but people still have to be able to identify what good is, right? So this is why one of the things that I always talk about, and I'll say it, at the end of this live stream as well, I say it at the end of all of them, but I talk about how important it is to look at all this stuff as a learning curve and to make sure that you're focusing on your skill sets. And the reason that I mention those things is because if you get fully dependent on ChatGPT for everything, then you're just going to be using that as the thing to go to, but you're not going to be actively like learning how to do the stuff. So then you're going to be taking the output that ChatGPT gives or any of these things, and then you're just going to be applying that, just expecting it to work. And then when it doesn't work, it's going to be like, hey, what's going on? Why isn't this working? Like, I'm doing all these things and it's saying that this is, the way, but it doesn't necessarily know the nuance of, what it is that you're trying to do, who it is that you're trying to reach. It might give you advice on something that would be great for an entertainment channel, but not necessarily for a model railroad channel, or not necessarily for a geology channel. It might be great for an educational channel, but it might not be great for a crafting channel. So one of the things, like when I first started consulting about YouTube, one of the first things that really stood out to me and kind of broke my worldview, so to speak, about YouTube, is you'll see channels out there to where they teach people about YouTube, and all of the information that they give is essentially based on educational content. And the reason for that is because some of those, channels, like, they're a lot of like new channels that they're doing it. The only experience they have is with an educational channel. So by default, their truth is that these are the things that work. Right. And for educational content, they might. But then when you start branching out, you start getting like, oh, hey, here's a gaming channel, right? Here's a fitness channel. Here's a food channel. Here is a tech channel. And you start working with these different channels or different or the same kind of, like it's food or travel, but it's like this kind of travel, right? Like in terms of who, the type of value that they're providing. Like things just there's best practices that work across the board, but then there's nuance within all of it. So when you're using ChatGPT, it might give you information based on best practices or just general information, but you need to make sure that you're explaining the nuances of things. So like if you're trying to get a thumbnail out of it, for example, one thing you might also say is this is who I'm targeting with this thumbnail, not just make a thumbnail that shows these things, but this is who I'm targeting with this thumbnail. This is the type of content that I make. My video is going to be talking about these things. Make it more kind of like a casual amateur style instead of like a super polished, like Mr. Beast, super high contrast, type of style. Those types of things. So when you are developing your skills, just to kind of bring that back home, when you're developing your skills, it helps you be able to see some of these things a little bit more clearly. Because when you're like learning about making thumbnails and you're learning about like color theory, or you're learning about how to use fonts, or you're learning about like how to position things in an image and like balance in images and things like that, like you're learning about all these concepts. Then when ChatGPT gives you something, then you can say like, you know what, that's a little bit off. That's not really in a good position. This is bringing more attention than this thing is bringing. And because of that, if somebody is seeing this at a glance, then there's a really good chance that they might just go right past this, for the target people that I'm actually trying to reach, right? So even though all of these tools are available, still make sure that you are, learning about just the core fundamentals and in terms of how to do the stuff that we have to do as creators, in terms of learning how to grab people's attention when videos first start, learning how to tell stories, learning how to, write titles that are effective, learning how to, make effective thumbnails and all that, so that when you're getting that input back, you're able to clearly be able to see like, you know what, that's not that great. Right. Or I need to tweak this. I need to work on my prompt and give ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using more information so that it can give me the output that I'm actually searching for, instead of it, giving me something that doesn't necessarily apply. So keep all that in mind when it comes to the AI tools. Let's see here. So next up, we've got JJ, the Lonely Bull in Asia, does bi-weekly content, been on YouTube for a year or more, does travel content. And the question is, I recently moved to Bangkok from the Philippines. Welcome. And says, have been doing videos about Thailand now. Since then, my views are way down. This is common. I'm losing a large number of subscribers, also common. Says, would have been better to start a new channel, or should I stick with this one and keep plugging along? Also, is this normal? I'm getting self-conscious. Yeah, this type of thing is normal. So basically you grew your audience on the Philippines. Then when you moved, you're not in the Philippines anymore. So the people that are interested in the Philippines they don't care at scale. So because of that, you probably have some people that are just watching you and, they're coming over and enjoying your content, regardless. But since you were talking about the Philippines before, and now you're talking about Thailand, you're definitely going to have, people that don't care about your experience in Thailand because they are in the Philippines or more interested in the Philippines, that kind of stuff. So a couple of things just really quick that I want to bring to your attention. I'm just looking at the channel here really quick. Okay. So a couple of things that I would definitely start doing in your content specifically, and I'm just going to pull this up here really quick since we're doing this on the stream today, is when it comes to like your thumbnails, for example, one thing that I would definitely do is just start using some imagery in the background. You have Bangkok on here, which is a good move because that helps people instantly identify it's about Bangkok, which is good. But I would definitely just use more imagery instead of like these color panels, so that it, like there's a lot of symbolism when it comes to Thailand. Some of it, and I'm sure you're aware of this already, you want to be careful using, or maybe not use, but some of it, you're totally fine using it. So because of that, I would also start putting some imagery in here that just helps people connect with Thailand at a glance. So here, for example, how you have the flag on here for the Philippines, start doing that for some of these as well, so that people interested in Thailand, they're going to, see that flag. It's going to help them know at a glance that this has something to do with Thailand. In addition to that, some of that imagery in the background can also be helpful for just those clear, like, oh yeah, that's definitely, a Thai thing for people that are interested in Thailand, so that you can start growing that arm of your audience here. But I would definitely do that. In addition to that, when it comes to your titles, so right now, while you're trying to grow your Thai audience, or just foreigners that are here in Thailand, I'm not sure what approach you're taking there, but for this, instead of having things like this in your thumbnail, because you have here, which is cheaper, Bangkok or BGC. So having Bangkok versus BCG, I'm not even sure what BCG or BGC is, but basically having, Bangkok versus that, and then some, imagery. So if this is in the Philippines, then in that case, having some of the Filipino imagery or the Philippine imagery here, maybe some Thailand imagery behind you, something like that. And then with the text there, but you got to be really careful, because you can also distract people from the thing that's going to grab their attention. So just be real intentional when you're putting your thumbnails together. After you make it, sit back and just kind of look at it and be like, okay, where's my attention going when this, when this first shows up, so that you can make sure that you're focusing people on the right thing. TubeSpanner has a really cool tool, and this is how you spell it. It's right here on the screen. But TubeSpanner has a really cool tool as part of their browser extension, where you can take your thumbnails and you can upload them, and then you can preview them on YouTube. And it has a countdown, and then that countdown will blank the screen out, so it goes completely black, and then it will open up with your thumbnail embedded somewhere in there, just randomly on the page. You might want to play with that too. I think that might even be part of the free tool, but I'm not sure. But basically with that, it can also help you be like, okay, does my thumbnail stand out? And then two, as soon as it grabs my attention, what's the first thing I see, right? So that you can start to kind of monitor that, so that so it can help you, make sure that you're focusing on imagery that helps people understand that it's about the locations that you're talking about. Here, like how you have like in Bangkok, like that's good, right? Step in the right direction. But this is another one. Thai flag up here, first time in Bangkok. And then shocked me. You're already saying what happened, right? So I don't even need to watch this video to know that you're shocked, but I might watch it to see why. Other things is like your crop. I would make you bigger, because people, if you're going to put yourself in your thumbnail, go ahead and make yourself prominent a little bit to grab attention. So still put a little bit of Thai imagery here if you want to. If you're going to rely on the text, then here, crop yourself like right here, and then just make yourself bigger. I would reverse that image also, so that you're not leaning out of the image, that you're actually leaning in to the image instead of leaning out as well. And the reason for that is just because, you're just more prominent, in the frame, kind of like how you are down here, right? But I would even, kind of stretch yourself up a little bit more to where you're like more like right around in here. I'm just kind of balance that out just a smidge. Same thing here, things that I wish I knew. This is okay. But even in this one, man, like I would go in and I'd update these thumbnails. So like anything where you're talking about the Philippines, I'd put the flag in that. Anything that you're talking about Thailand, I would put the Thai flag in that. And then by doing that, at the very least, even with the text approach that you're currently taking, it's just crystal clear that it at least has something to do with that. So people interested in those things, they can identify it at a glance. So at the very least, if you don't do the rest, at the very least, I would do that. That's a Canva thumbnail, I think. I think I recognize that thumbnail. Let's see here. Let's see.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Lauren, Self-Love Studio, welcome to the Nimminati. So when you get the chance, I'm not sure if you're on Facebook or not, but we have a Facebook group. It's called NimminVIP.com. Good place. You can answer questions in there. A lot of knowledgeable people in there too. So when you ask a question, either myself or somebody else, can help you with it. But go to NimminVIP.com. It's going to redirect you to the Facebook group. If you can fill out all the information there, so I know that you're a member. And if you can do that before the stream, then I can get you in there after the stream is finished. I'm not sure if you're on Discord or not, but we also have a similar thing on Discord to where, you can ask questions, things like that. And some people, chat in that one as well. But over on that one, it's also a little bit more organized when it comes to questions, to where if you have a question, you can ask it, and then it's kind of contained within the, the thread. So, you can actually talk about, stuff in there, and it's all isolated around the topic. So that is available for you as well. So because you're a channel member, if you connect to Discord and you connect to the same, via the same YouTube account, then the group should automatically be available for you after you connect there. Let's see here. Next up, Magic Prepper, thanks for the super chat. Says, you ever publish a video that performs so badly you question your entire life? Anyways, here's a coffee. Thanks always for showing up, Nick. Thanks. Question my entire life? No, but sometimes I publish videos and I expect people to respond to them better, because sometimes I'll give good information that people need to hear, and people just don't respond to it. It's because of mistakes that I make in the video. Like viewers aren't at fault. It's because, I either didn't, hook them correctly, or, I took too long getting into it, or, something along those lines. So it's not that I, question life, but yeah, like, when you publish videos and they don't do, that great, it's just kind of like, and sometimes I publish stuff, and I know it's not going to do that great out of the gate. But over time, it'll end up doing okay. And then every now and then I'll publish something and I'll be like, okay, this one probably isn't going to do that good, but people need to hear this and I need to have it available on my channel. So I'm going to publish it anyway. So I've got so many videos on my channel. So like, I look at my channel as like a library of work, and not necessarily like live and die by each video that I publish, because once somebody does find my content, if they have a problem with YouTube, they can just go and look through my content. And they can usually find a solution to the problems that they're having. But I feel you though. Yeah, the reason, so Diane Dobson says, wow, the membership's only $4.99. Yeah, the reason for that is because, I'm not trying to make money per se off of the membership. I get a lot of outreach when it comes to YouTube. Like I have people reaching out to me on Twitter, people reaching out to me in email, we get comments on the channel, people DMing me on Twitter about YouTube and all these things. And it just kind of helps me. Like I'll still help people in all those situations too. But like when I'm limited on time and I need to prioritize things, then I just use it as a way to be like, okay, well, these people are contributing to the cause. So therefore I'm going to, jump in there and, see if anybody there, is dealing with anything first, where they need the help before I go and I start, answering like DMs and that kind of stuff. Just because I'm really like when it comes to my time, and you wouldn't guess it when it comes to this live stream, because I stream for like 3 hours. But when it comes to my time, when I'm not, streaming, I'm just pretty protective of it. And because of that, because of the amount of outreach and stuff, because, like once somebody runs across my YouTube channel and they're like, oh, wow. Then they will, like a lot of people will just, reach out because of it. Because hey, will you check out my channel? Do you have any tips? I'm having this problem, whatever. And it just helps me be able to, add some type of, separation there in terms of what I prioritize. Let's see here. So next up on the list, Barabbas Ball, I hope I'm saying that correctly. They upload 1 time per week or more, been on YouTube for less than 6 months. It's a Christian channel. The goal of the channel is to be a full-time creator. And let's see here. The question is, shorts are great for subs, but what can I do for watch time? So this is one of those things where if you want more watch time on your YouTube videos, you got to learn how, you got to go through the learning curve, and you have to learn how to make content. Like I wish that, people could publish videos and just by default, they would go out to just tons and tons of people, and that it would bring in, the attention that was needed so that people can add the value that they want to add. But because YouTube has so much content, and there's a finite amount of viewers logging onto the platform. And because they need to show ads to people, they need to, do all these things. They need to make sure people are going to keep coming back to the platform. They have to make sure that people have a good experience with content. So because of that, they prioritize content that, that people respond well to. And if people don't respond to the content and you're not getting views, you're not getting watch time, that type of thing, then you have to go through the process that we can't shortcut. You can't buy this process in terms of, you can't shortcut it through, advertising and that kind of stuff. You can't buy it. You can't hack it. You can't do any of those things. You have to go through the process of learning how to package up your content in a way that captures people's attention so they'll click on it. And then from there, you have to go through the process of learning how to make content that people respond to. Like, I know that when it comes to my content, I kind of work against myself when I say things like that, because, some people, not everybody, but some people, they just want like, okay, hey, how can I kind of hack this to get better results? And a lot of people will lean on that, and they'll make content about, hacking, YouTube, and turn on this setting to get, more views instantly and all these other things. And people respond to that kind of stuff. So, I work against myself by just being honest and being like, you can't, like, none of that works. Like, you have to go through the process of learning how to do the thing if you're going to do the thing. So because of that, if you want more watch time on your videos, and you're trying to get those 4,000 hours of watch time, you have to go through that process of learning how to come up with good topics, learning how to capture people's attention, and learning how to, give them value through the content in a way that they'll respond to it well, so that YouTube will identify it and your videos will be competitive in their system, so that YouTube will, show your content to more people. That's really what it comes down to. And the same exact thing when it comes to shorts. If people respond well to your shorts and they're watching them for long periods of time or looping them and, things like that, then, those can also, do well. But you have to learn how to do those also. Next up. And really quick, Doug brought something to my attention here real quick. Hey, Alex, thanks for that second super chat, by the way. And Lauren Self Love Studio, thank you for the super chat as well. I appreciate it. Okay, so next up we got Cass and Rassistar. Cass and Rassistar. Yeah, and sister. Hold on. Cassandra's sister. Maybe that's it. Cassandra's sister is the next channel here. They do daily content, but on YouTube for less than 6 months. The goal is to be a full-time content creator. And the question is, I have over 3,000 subscribers in 3 months. Nice work. You're crushing it, by the way. And receive 0 to 2 comments per video. Comments are enabled with no restrictions. I desire a sense of community more than anything. Is my channel too private? How do I build a community? How can I create a safe space for my viewers? Or might not that be possible? It's possible. I'm sorry. That's just one question. I feel so alone, and my channel aims to raise awareness about Cassandra syndrome and address the loneliness that we experience. So when it comes to people leaving comments on your videos, people will usually leave comments when they are impacted in some way. They will leave comments if you ask them a question in the video that they can respond to. Like a lot of people, for example, they'll say things like, hey, if you're enjoying this, leave a comment. Well, that works for a like. That works for a subscribe sometimes. But when it comes to comments, it's different, because when you ask people to just comment on a video, you create this whole other thing that requires work for the viewer. So when you ask somebody to comment and there's no lead there in terms of like what they should comment about, then it's like, well, what should I comment about? Should I comment about my dog? Should I comment about the day I'm having? Like, what should I comment about? So when you ask a question that people can easily answer in the comments, that can help generate more comments on the channel. When it comes to, I'm just gonna look at what you're doing here real quick. Yeah, another thing too is just scale. Because right now, I'm looking at your channel, and like some of these views or some of the videos, you've got like 38 views on this one, 41 views on this one. You've got this one here with 804, and I'm just kind of scrolling through. And just so you know, like this is normal, like in terms of like the view counts and stuff, with where you're at right now. Yeah, 600 views. You got this one down here with 1,000 views. What was happening here? Syndrome, the good in our relationships. Okay. So the very first thing that is needed here is scale, right? And what I mean by that is if you start increasing the average view per viewer or per video, then that is going to naturally also start helping with comments, especially if you ask people questions in your videos, because then you have more people interacting with it. So for example, like if you look at this video right here, and I'm just picking a random video, but you look at this one that has 64 views on it. In this particular case, first, out of that 64 views, you have to look in your audience retention reports to see how far people even made it out of that 64 views. And you might find that people didn't make it that far. And if they didn't make it that far, then they don't have the opportunity. Some people might have, and this is why I mean scale. So out of those 64 viewers, you had 64 people that entered the video, and they watched it long enough for YouTube to consider it a view. From there, out of those 64 people, a certain percentage of those people start dropping off as soon as they enter that video, right? So because of that, by the time you start getting into the actual content, or you start, delivering the value that would make somebody be like, leave a comment, or by the time they would get to you asking them a question, the amount of people that might still be watching that video might be, considerably low out of that 64 viewers. And then out of those people, then you have the people that would actually respond to a call to action. And for that, this is why scale is important. And for that, that's going to be, a percentage of those people that are still hanging out in the video as well. So by the time you get through all of that, you end up with just like a couple of people that might even be, somebody that would even comment in the first place. So because of that, you have to first work on the scale side, and then I'd work on the comment side. I understand that you're after community. But one thing that you can do, I'm actually going to see how your live streams are going here. Okay. Yeah. So you have some live streams that you're doing, but one thing that you could do on the community side is kind of like I've done here, is that, every, week at a certain time, you are like, okay, this is going to be, my stream time. And if you can, that you just start showing up. Even if you don't have any viewers, hanging out in the live stream, you're just showing up. And in your content, if it's common, because you mentioned here in terms of the language that you used, you said it aims to raise awareness about Cassandra syndrome and address the loneliness that we experience. So that tells me that, that you are, that other people that have Cassandra syndrome also feel a lot of loneliness. So because of that, if you start doing a live stream, and this is something I would try, right, is if you start doing a live stream to where it's like, hey, every whatever day it is that you choose, you show up, and you're going to show up for, for the first time, do it for let's say 30 minutes or maybe even an hour. But basically you show up, and you have stuff already planned out that you're going to talk about and all that, so that from the outside you can have it to where, there's a very clear value that you're offering in your live streams, but you make it to where you're showing up at that same time every single week. Okay. And then from there, in your video content, somewhere in the video content, for the people that make it far enough to get to that part, if they're all feeling this loneliness that you're talking about, mention it. So be like, hey, and by the way, if you're feeling lonely, like I am, I have a live stream that I do. In my case, I would say every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So it's like, hey, if you're feeling lonely like I do because of this, every Saturday I have a live stream. So if you're looking for other people that are dealing with this, if you're looking for other people to connect with, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here on Saturday at this time, or whatever day it is for you. At this time, if you can show up, then I'm here for you, and we can start the conversation at that time. And then that way, if you do that, you're spreading awareness about it in the video content. Try to make it quick, because you still want to deliver the value of the content. But then by showing up there one by one, you'll start having people come in and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. And then you guys, are talking about, the thing, or you're, talking about that way, and then they're, talking back via chat. That would be something I would try. And I would try that for, a good 3 months, and see if you get any progress whatsoever towards building the community. If the goal here is to, build the community, because you said you want that more than anything. So I would just lean really, really hard on that side of things. Also, another thing that I would do, and this isn't something that, And I'll say it anyway. Okay. So if there are groups around this on like Reddit or Facebook or anywhere, another thing that I would do is I would also become a part of those groups. And then I would also just mention from time to time, right? Anytime somebody talks about loneliness, and I don't know if that's what the whole thing is about or not. I have no idea. But anytime somebody talks about loneliness, let them know. Have a YouTube channel. If you look for Cassandra Sister, you'll find it there. I do a live stream every whatever the day is at this time. Would love to have you a part of it. We're growing a community of people like us over there, and I'd love to have you a part of it, right? And then by doing that, you're also spreading the awareness there. But I wouldn't do that like over the top. Like you don't want to reply to everybody like that because you don't want to spam, but be a part of those communities. And when you see somebody that needs that help, just let them know you're there and let them know where they can find that help. That would be the first thing that I would try to try to start building that community, along with working really hard on, like for example, like this video that you published 3 days ago, like that thumbnail. And I'm just telling you this because, because you're trying to, make these connections and help people. But this thumbnail, I'll just pull it up on screen real quick. Let me make sure you said it was okay. Yeah. So, share screen. Yeah. Like on this latest video right here, this thumbnail, there's just so much going on here. Right. Like try to focus it. Like you look nice and friendly, right? Nice smile and all of that. So I think that, you're probably, people are probably seeing in terms of like when they see the thumbnail, like they're probably seeing you, but like at a glance, even if you try to read all of this, it's hard, just based on like the dark words on top of the dark watermelon in the background and things like that. So just try to simplify your thumbnails. And like this one here, right? You have, cleaning flowers is self-care. Still a little bit hard to read because you put the border on the on the text. Like you might want to make that like a darker text or something so it pops a little bit more. But I would definitely do more like this when it comes to the thumbnails, to where you're simplifying things. And I like that you have Cassandra syndrome on here. But if you're going to do that sort of thing, instead of just putting the words on here, which I mean, it's better than nothing in terms of helping them identify it, but you might want to, if you're going to use words, try to figure out how you can work that kind of stuff into here, right? So instead of cleaning flowers is self-care, Cassandra syndrome, cleaning flowers is self-care. I think that's probably good. But basically making this more about what they might get out of this content, right? Like how to use flowers for self-care, Cassandra syndrome, how to use flowers to help you with Cassandra syndrome, right? Something like that. So then that way it's just like a little bit more, clear, and it's more value driven instead of like it being a statement. Like here, it's more of a statement, cleaning flowers is self-care. And it doesn't really express how this might help somebody. But if you're like, how to use flower for self-care, then in that case, you're being more explicit about the value that people are going to get in that content, right? So yeah, try to simplify with what it is that you're doing, and just try to make sure that you do have a nice, clear focus. Like right now, the red watermelon is pulling more attention in the back than this stuff up front is. So like I would definitely just work on your thumbnails, but hang in there. This is all part of the process. So, don't stress about it or anything, but definitely, work on those things, because scale is going to help you tremendously. And then showing up, at a certain time, if you can. I don't know if that fits in your schedule or not. But those types of things, can help with building a community. So first time I went live on this channel, I had 2 people come through the live stream. And then after that, I didn't stream for a while. And then YouTube put out a feature after I had already grown the channel a bit. I had like 12,000 subscribers, I think. And then I got a lot of people into that one. And then I've been streaming ever since. But sometimes I stream on other channels too. And when I stream on other channels, sometimes, those videos, like I did a channel review stream on the Tube Spanner channel. That one had like 300 and something, views on that particular live stream. But I still showed up just like this stream where, 100 people are watching, 200 people are watching. Like right now across platforms, we've got like 263 people watching this like right now. So by the time it's all finished and all that stuff, there'll be, a few thousand people that have been through this. But on the Tube Spanner channel, like in total, it's like 300 and something views. But you still just got to show up, right? Like there's a bunch of people there, and treat the stream like there's a bunch of people there, and add whatever value you're going to add to your community like there's a bunch of people there. And then eventually, if you keep doing that and you're intentionally trying to improve your skills in order to, be able to better connect with, people through your thumbnails, titles, content, live streams, and all that, then you will build that community that you're trying to reach. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, man, we are just burning through these. West of Neverland is the next channel. They've been on YouTube for less than a month. They do entertainment history content. The goal of the channel is to make money. The question is, does your own personal view history influence the audience YouTube shows your videos to? No, it does not. So according to YouTube, it doesn't matter if what kind of content you watch. It matters what your video is actually about and who is watching your content and how they respond to it. Next up, we've got ChinaJoCarole again, does singing and covers. It says, from a glance, what do you think of my channel? Oh, okay, we did that one already, so I think they just repeated it. Okay, next up, we got Beards, Heads, and Threads. Am I like looping here? I think we did this one too. Does men's grooming? Oh, no, I just saw it in the chat, I think. They do men's grooming content. The question is, I'm growing slowly, and my views don't seem to be a lot on my videos, but wanting to get advice on getting higher views, and lately it seems the explosive growth has been slowing down. So a couple things. Oh, no, you've been making videos for a year or more. So, yeah, that wouldn't apply. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just look at what you're doing, see if I can add any insights here. From one baldy to another. Man, I love your beard. I don't have the courage to do that. But one of these days, I've had it like a little bit long. Like when I first started my YouTube channel, like I would say probably a month before I started my YouTube channel, not when I started it, but like while I was kind of getting things ready, a month before I committed to doing YouTube, I got my beard, like it was pretty big. And I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, I ended up foolishly shaving it. But yeah, I love your beard. Okay, so let's look at what you're doing real quick. Share screen. All right. So we're gonna skip all the like channel related stuff. We're just going straight to like what matters the most. So Chad's choice beer oil collab. Okay, so one question that I want you to answer right now is, if you look at this particular thumbnail, if you saw this on YouTube, what value do you think that you would get out of this? Just kind of answer that out loud or in your own head. Like, what value do you think that somebody would get out of this? Like, it's yours, what's in the content, so that might be kind of giving you a little bit of bias. But imagine if this was somebody else. Imagine if this were to show up on your home feed and you didn't know anything about this person. What value do you think that you would be getting out of this? The reason I ask is because here you have Chad's choice, incredible real pipe tobacco scent, right? And then down here you have Chad's choice beer oil collab. So from the outside, I'm guessing this is a collaboration with the people that make this beard oil. And I'm guessing that this beard oil has some type of pipe tobacco scent. But the thing that I'm not picking up is, if I were to click on this video, what's going on here? Is this like a review? Are you showing me how to use this? I'm not sure. So the reason I'm going through this is because when it comes to packaging up your videos, because you mentioned here that, views are kind of, falling off and stuff. So when it comes to videos, you need to make sure that it's pretty clear the value that somebody's going to get out of the content. It could be entertainment, it could be inspiration, it could be motivation, it could be education, it could be perspective, it could be they're going to feel challenged in some way. It could be, all kinds of different ways that value is expressed. But I would definitely work on how you're presenting this stuff. Let me see this one. This one's really captured my attention. And then you have some stuff back here, and then 5 Bros grooming review. Okay, so this one's a little bit more clear because at least we know that it's a review, right? So that's more clear. But this one here, it's just saying that you're like collaborating with this company. So instead of that, what you want to do when you're packaging up your content is you want to take the approach where you're like, okay, if somebody were to see this from the outside, they've never seen any of my content before, and they are interested in beard oil, how might this capture their attention, and what exact value might they think they would get out of this? So right now it just seems like it's more like, hey, I did this collab with this company instead of, Chad's Choice Beer Oil, what you need to know. Something like that. Chad's Choice Beer Oil, what you need to know before you buy. Or Chad's Choice Beer Oil, this might be the best beard oil I've ever found. Things like that. And the idea there is that with all of those versions, then there's some type of value expressed, right? Because it's like, oh, best beard oil. Okay, let's see what that's all about, right? Like those types of things, to where you start, making it more about them versus like, hey, this is just like the video. Like make it, about the people that are seeing that thumbnail and title that you're trying to connect with. Now, in terms of identification, you do have the word beard oil here, which is cool. If you know about Chad's Choice already, then you have that. But one thing that I also want to bring your attention to is if Chad's Choice, and I don't know when it comes to beard oil, but like if Chad's Choice is gigantic and like everybody that's into beard oil knows who that is, then in that case, leading with that can be advantageous. But if it's little known, or it's some like underground thing or something like that, then in that particular case, just making it about beard oil in general, but you bring attention to it being Chad's Choice. So for example, instead of it being Chad's Choice Incredible, Tobacco Scent, then maybe you would have you on one side so they can connect with you in terms of like, hey, this guy's beard is great. Instead of having the cartoon over here, put the text over here and say something along the lines of, the ultimate beard oil, right? And then here, you could also have, Chad's Choice, beard oil again, is this the best beard oil ever? Or, something along those lines. But the whole idea is to, try to grab their attention around something that matters to them, which is beard oil in this specific case. Let's see here, Fibers Grooming. And here you also have like, this one has really captured my attention. So I think you have an advantage here, specifically you, because your beard is so awesome. So I think that's probably going to grab the attention of some guys that you're trying to reach anyway. But even with this, in your thumbnail, like what I recommend to people, especially like when you're trying to, like get that initial traction, is instead of, these types of things where it's like, this one's really captured my attention, thinking about, okay, how can I make this just crystal clear that this has something about beard oil at a glance? You have stuff in the background, so people might see that, but you in this text also stands out, and this stuff in the background takes a little bit of extra effort. So because of that, you might be better off with a photo of you instead of putting the text on here. Two different approaches that you might be better off with, or that you might want to experiment with. Instead of having, you and then the text and then the stuff in the background, have like you and then have like a jar of that stuff, and just make sure it's clear in some way that it's beard oil, either in the packaging or, something like that to help them identify it's beard oil. And then if need be, then putting some type of supported text on here that said something about beard oil might be advantageous. Or if you're going to go this route, then making sure that this text pops just a little bit more, and you can do that by simply fading the background just a little bit. And instead of this one has really captured my attention, same thing. This beard oil captured my attention, right? Even within that's not like super compelling, but the fact that it has beard oil in it will help people that see this thumbnail identify that this has something to do with beard oil without them having to read this, or before they read this, so that they'll read this. Okay. So that's the whole idea with that. Dry shaving tutorial with MK3 head shaver. Yeah, like this one, you're focused on the product, right? And you're focused on exactly what it is that you're doing, and you're focused on the product that you're doing it with. Super informative thumbnail right here. I'm actually surprised. Hold on. The ultimate DIY shaving experience test drive with the MK13. Yeah, this is another one to where this is where language can also be pretty important. So like if you are doing the tutorial, then you could, work the tutorial language into this. If this is a review, work the review language into this. Instead of it being the ultimate dry shave experience test drive with MK3, make it explicit that it's a review, if it's a review of some kind. Or if you're going to be like, talking about it in a way like it might be, kind of review-ish, adding that type of language here can also be helpful. Same thing. Yeah. So adding that there. Tried the latest beard oil and Vulcan, my thoughts. Yeah. So same thing here. I think you're on the right path here though with this one, because you're, focusing on that imagery. And then I tried the latest beard oils, 1986 Vulcan, and here are my thoughts. Yeah. So this is another one to where while you're getting started, like this stuff can still be effective. Like if people click into this and they like really respond to this and it goes out to enough people, like this type of thing can be effective too. But instead of my thoughts, like right now where you're trying to get that momentum, because right now there might not be enough people that are like wanting to hear the thoughts, or that know, you enough in terms of returning viewers to hear your thoughts. So because of that, this is another one where reframing it towards the potential viewer could be advantageous for you. So here, instead of my thoughts, maybe what you should know. Right? Because then what that does is that kind of changes the value. So again, instead of it being my thoughts to where it's like, hey, here's what I think about it, it's like, okay, hey, here's what you should know. So then anybody that's interested in this in any way, shape, or form, then it's like, oh, okay, well, what should I know about this? Right. And again, like I've mentioned a few times during the stream, these types of things usually also take place like at the ideation stage when you're thinking about what you're going to show in the thumbnail and title and all of that. So you can make sure it matches the actual video content itself. But those types of tweaks can really make a big difference when it comes to how people respond to what it is that you're doing. Why we do what we do. Truth about being a content creator in 2025. Okay. Now here's another thing. This is 12 days ago. So I love that you're on the grind. You're like 12 days, 9 days, you know what I mean? Like you're on the grind, which is great. But one thing that you also want to do is you want to make sure that you focus everything that you're doing on the people that you're trying to reach with this content. So here you have the truth about being a content creator in 2025. This is where this is important. So if somebody's watching the content about beard and head shaving related stuff, we'll just call it men's grooming. So if people are watching this men's grooming content and then they're, let's say you have somebody watch this video, and they're like, man, these are great. This video, and then YouTube serves them this. It's not about what it is that they come to you for, and they're not going to click on this video. So because of that, what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a situation where you start having people interacting with your channel that are not interested in everything else it is that you're doing. So because of that, if you're going to be making men's grooming content, make men's grooming content and not stuff like this, especially while you're trying to get momentum, right? And then just make basically the way that you want to approach that. And I'm just looking to see if you've done this a lot or not. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, so basically the whole idea there is that you start creating or start making sure that every single thing on your channel is a good fit for a certain type of viewer, so that when you publish something and YouTube shows it to them, it's relevant and they click again, right? It's super important to do that, especially, when you're getting going. And in your case, you've got like 6,000 subscribers on the channel. It looks like you've had, some success in like some of your shorts and stuff. If I sort by popular on the short side, and on the video side, you've also, had some good things happen there. Now, the things that you have to your advantage right now is within the last 11 months, you have a video with 133,000 views. That's about best head shavers. And then the next popular video is also about head shavers. So you have 2 of these videos, and out of your top 8 videos here, 1, 2, 3, 4 are about shaving heads. Okay. So that's a huge, or about head shavers specifically. So that's a huge indicator in terms of what people are, interested in, at least, over the last 6 months, 11 months in a year on your channel. But the place where you're kind of I'm sorry. There's another one to, it's a members video. Okay. Never mind. And then here's another one, but again, this is a year ago, so not a huge deal. But you have this one here about the griddle review. That's the same thing, to where if you're going to be men's grooming, then be men's grooming and don't publish videos about like griddle reviews and stuff like that. So hopefully that's helpful. And I just realized that I wasn't showing any of that on my screen, that I had already closed it. So sorry about that. Okay. So yeah. So on that note, I want to just remind you, if you are a new content creator or you're a struggling content creator, remember that YouTube is a learning curve, just like anything else that you're going to do. Roberto Blake in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Roberto Blake is the author of Create Something Awesome. Helps you monetize your YouTube channel and grow it. You can find this on Amazon. I got a link in the description, or you can just go to Amazon and look for Create Something Awesome. Roberto's the man. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. But when it comes to YouTube, it is a learning curve. It's just like if you're trying to play an instrument, if you're trying to, if you get a new job and you have to learn a bunch of new stuff, if you get a new hobby, you got to learn stuff about that hobby, all of that. YouTube is the same exact thing. There's a lot of stuff that you need to learn. And if you're struggling right now, just focus the most on developing the skill sets in terms of learning how to design thumbnails, learning how to take photos for your thumbnails, learning how to position things correctly in your thumbnails, learning how to write effective titles, learning how to package the content up. Just in general, working through some of the things that we were talking through today in terms of questions to ask yourself when you're putting your content together. Like, focus on those things, because those things are going to get you there faster than any hack that somebody's going to promise you, any shortcut somebody's going to promise you, any service that somebody's going to, promise you. You want to make sure that you're working on those skill sets, because those skill sets make everything else possible. So focus on that. Hang in there. You got this. We'll be here next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern as well. So hopefully you'll tune back in for that. Have a great rest of your weekend. Make sure you check out the video description, all kinds of cool, helpful stuff down there for you as well. And I will see you next time. Oh, and give this a like on the way out if you haven't yet.
Hit the sub button, hit the like button. If you're having fun, comment, type something. If you're laying back, leaning in, engage. Just take a second to smash the whole